Okay, so we're live. It is, let's see here. It is 128. It's the 12th day of July, 2026. And I'm very, very glad to be back. Hold on one second here. I'm going to go all the way up to the top here. Uh, so Dom was here. Good to see Dom. I came to say hi to all my friends, but I'm tired enough to go to sleep. Love to most of you. Good to see Dom. Hope you get some good sleep. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you for sure. Okay, so we got Paula's in the chat. Paula's right there. Good to see Paula. Hope Paula's well. We got Carol in here. Good to see Lita Joe, also known as Carol. Let's see here. We got Mustang's right there. Good to see Mustang for sure. Mustang's awesome. Always good to see Mustang here in the chat. Let's see. We got Brian in here. Brian said something too that I want to. Good to see Brian for sure. Has anyone heard from Jenny? I am worried about her. I haven't heard anything at all. Of course, I wasn't here last week. I apologize for that. Had some other issues going on. Gretchen is here. Good to see Gretchen for sure. Let's see. Unindicted Co-Conspirators right there. Good to see UCC. Dewey Ox is in here. Always good to see Dewey Ox. Happy Sunday to everybody for sure. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July last week. Let's see here. And the funny thing is, I was going to do 2 lives last week, but I ended up doing none. But anyways, if anybody's heard from Jenny, let me know because I'm starting to worry about her too. But anyways, okay, so going to get into the true crime cases of the week. I was going to do this outside, but it's a little too cold tonight here. It's so good to see everybody too. Always good to see Paula for sure. I haven't seen Heather either, so got to dry off for the umpteenth time. All right, so let's. I haven't seen Heather in a while either. I hope Heather's doing well. So let me play my intro. And we'll get going. We're going to do the true crime cases of the week. I think I have 2 missing persons cases, and I'm going to try to break open a new case here that I'm surprised I haven't heard about. We'll try to do that. So let me play. Hold on a second. Let me play my intro, and we will be right back. All right, I'll be right back. See you guys. Good to see everybody. Yeah, there's definitely a ton of stuff going on right now. I try not to cover the the events like the mass pewers and stuff like that. I just don't feel like anybody needs that much attention. But it's always sad for sure, and it is technically true crime. But I think the more you give these guys a platform, the more they're going to do it. That's just my opinion. But anyways, it's good to see everybody here. Good to see Gretchen for sure. Somebody up here said they saw Heather. I saw Heather. So Gretchen said I saw Heather in somebody else's chat a couple days ago. I know it's summertime. Like summertime's, a little bit different than a wintertime. A lot of people are out doing stuff. I don't blame them. It's been actually pretty nice around here. I know some places are getting flooding right now. I know a couple of places that are getting some heavy rains, and other places are really hot. That was supposed it to be, right. But anyways, okay, so we got a lot of stuff to go on. There's a ton of stuff going on. Let me hide my face. Hold on a second here. A lot of stuff going on. And I got 2 weeks to catch up on. I'm not going to catch on all of them this week here, but I do want to go over some. I don't want to call it rapid fire here, but there's some cases. Let me go back here. Hold on 1 second here. Is that the Great Lakes crossing that you guys are talking about? Let me go back here. A ways here. Let me see here. Oh, I want to play this here. Hold on a second. Okay, so we'll start here. Because this is a case that we started talking about a while back. And there's a little bit more. It's Peggy O's in here. Good to see Peggy O. We need rain here in Michigan. Yeah, you're either got a lot of rain or got a lot of dry, hot weather. It's been hot for a lot of people. Let me I want to play this case here because let's see here. Always good to see Vicarious Vigilante in here. It's Peggy's in here. All right, so remember we covered this case a while back. This is the latest on this case here, and this is really weird. This is a weird case here. Let me see if I can back this up again. So this case of Eve Rogers, remember she was this is right down here in Connecticut, I think, Enfield, Connecticut. Anyways, she was found unalive. They arrested her father for stepfather, anyways, for explicit behavior or something like that. But the autopsy came back and they found 5 times a lethal dose of Benadryl in her system. So what they're trying to do now is try to figure out how the Benadryl got in her system. I think the stepfather is still arrested, but I don't think he's being charged with the actual unaliving of this kid here. But all right, we'll play this. This came out 3 days ago, so let's play this here.
First up right now at 5, arrest warrants shedding new light on the death of Eve Rogers, but also raising some more questions. The 12-year-old Enfield girl was found dead in her bedroom in March.
And we now know she had a lethal level.
You guys remember this case? We covered this. This was back, we first started covering this back, I think, a few months ago. So here we go.
Of a common over-the-counter drug in her system. We broke the news to you yesterday here at 5. And your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, is live at the Enfield Police Department with what else these warrants reveal. Susan.
There are a lot of new details. As for the stepfather, Anthony Federline, he is now in police custody, and he is charged with sexually assaulting Eve Rogers, his stepdaughter. But this new report, a toxicology report, shows a lethal dose of drugs in the girl's system, at least one drug. And now police have to figure out, how did it get there? Eve Rogers.
How do you, I don't understand how you would ever prove how that got. I mean, I don't know how they would prove if. I mean, that's a lot of Benadryl. That's 5 times the lethal dose. That's a lot. That's like drinking almost a gallon of Benadryl. I don't know how they would be able to determine whether or not she took it or. Thank you, Mustang, for putting those chats in here. We got Mustang's putting in Peggy O's channel in there. We got the Brian Pinos is in here. So I don't know how they're going to be able to provide that answer. I just don't. But the toxicology report came back with 5 times the lethal dose of Benadryl. That's crazy. That's how does that happen? I didn't even know you could buy that much Benadryl. What is in? Hold on a second here. What is in? What is the normal Benadryl? I know the dosing. Hold on a second here. Benadryl, let's do a little shopping. I guess you can. Let's see here. I'm not going to take you guys with me with this. I'm just going to kind of read this here. 24 tablets. So 24. That's, to me, that seems like a lot of Benadryl. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to have to, I guess I could do it this way here. Hold on a second. How much Benadryl can you take in a day? Let's just do that. Okay, so I guess I could take you guys with me for this. Hold on a second. That way nobody thinks I'm kind of screwing up here. Yes, it's diphenhydramine. It's in everything. Is Southern Gal here? Hold on a second here. I should have done this before. I think I did actually do this before. Hold on a second here. All right, so this is basically Benadryl, diphenhydramine, diphenhydramine. It's basically an antihistamine. Adults and children over 12, 4 to 6 hours, 1.1, not to exceed the maximum daily limit recommended by healthcare, 1.3. 6 to 11 doses for children. I don't think children can actually take Benadryl. I know. Always refer to, didn't say how much can information is just still giving me that. I should have just, how much is too much Benadryl? 1 or 2 tablets or capsules by mouth every 4 to 6 hours. So you shouldn't take more than 6 doses. Hold on a second. You shouldn't take more than 300 milligrams in a 24-hour period. So if she took, this is going to have to be the math thing. If she took 5 times the daily allowance, and Quad's here, Tracy's here. Hi, Tracy. Good to see Tracy. 25 milligrams 1 time daily day is normal dose. Thank you. I should have just asked Tracy in the first place. I just put her link in. Thank you. Thank you, Mustang. So that's a lot. I'm just going to go by that's a lot. And I'll have to try to figure out, I guess if it was, I don't know if, hold on a second. I don't know if they say it was in pill form or that would be a good starting point. Hold on a second here. I always just assume it's the liquid because it's hard to get kids to take pills.
Was found in her bedroom wearing hardly any clothes. A blanket was covering the lower part of her body. Police say.
A second here. Back this up again.
Hardly any clothes. A blanket was covering the lower part of her body. Police say she had been sexually assaulted, and they arrested her stepfather, Anthony Federline, whose bodily fluids were found on his stepdaughter. And this week, Channel 3 uncovered new details. 5 new search warrants show Eve had about 60 ounces, or half a gallon, of a drug commonly known as Benadryl in her.
Half a gallon. That's got to be a lot. And they're saying, hold on, what did she say? Half a gallon, that's a lot. I'm just not going to replay that. It's just a lot of stuff. That's a lot of I'm just trying to figure out whether or not it was pills or
her
whether it was
blood.
liquid.
A deadly dose for a child is about 4,300 nanograms per millimeter. Toxicology results show Eve's levels were 23,000, almost 6 times that.
Good God.
Prozac was also found in her blood. Chris Morano, a former chief state's attorney, says police must now put all these facts together.
Just because there is a large substance that could be or was lethal in this young child, now you have to connect it to how it got there. Was it who put it there? Was it done on purpose? Was it done by accident? Was it self-taken?
Still a lot more questions and answers, and police now have to determine with the medical examiner's report how this girl died and what caused her death. They also must.
Shay Watson is here. Good to see Shay. I just think that if it was a pill form, it'd be more likely that somebody probably, I don't know, made her take it. It's a lot though. It's good to see Shay. I just don't understand how they're going to try to prove that somebody else did it to her.
Determine if she had ingested these drugs. Did she do them herself, or did someone give them to her? And coming up on Eyewitness News at 6, a closer look at the investigation, the drugs, maybe another drug that could have been found in her system, and something that her mother may have purchased for her daughter. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, Channel 3, live in Enfield tonight.
Just so tragic. Susan, thank you very much.
That's just really strange. Like, this is just a really strange situation here, especially with the what they call, we've covered that too, kind of like the Benadryl challenge. Remember we covered that a couple of weeks ago, I think. I wonder if we'll play this one here.
First up for you right now, it's a 12-year-old Enfield girl. Should have been in middle school right now, but instead, sadly, police are trying to figure out how Eve Rogers wound up with a lethal dose of an over-the-counter drug in her system.
Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, is live with what new arrest warrants reveal and the questions they now raise. Susan.
Erin, we're talking about Benadryl, a trade name
Fur
for
Baby Daddy's here. Good to see Fur Baby Daddy. Yeah, but it could have been put in a drink for sure. I do know they have that that Benadryl challenge that's been going around. I wonder if it has something to do with that. It's hard for me that somebody would force somebody to take that. I don't know if, like, I get kids, and it's really hard to get kids to take any medicine. So, the stepdad's just a piece of dog shit, but I don't know if he would have been able to do that. It's possible. I don't know.
a drug that many of us commonly use and have in our homes, but police say this young girl, Eve Rogers, had nearly half a gallon of it in her system. They want to know how she was able to get so much of it. They also have some questions on purchases her mother made. A community seeking answers and justice.
Did you have storms over there, Shay? So Shay said, my connection sucks. I'm not sure how proactive I can be. Tree fell on my cable and pulled it off the house. That sucks. That's terrible. I hope you're okay.
For Eve. The latest warrant shows 23,000 nanograms per millimeter. That's how much diphenhydramine was found in Eve Rogers' body, more than 5 times a lethal dose for a child, and nearly twice as much as it would take to kill an adult. So how did a 12-year-old girl
Here we go with more computer problems again. I don't know what the hell's going on with my computer. I apologize for that. Let me try to do this. Hold on a second.
Will get that much of the drug, most commonly known as Benadryl, in her system.
See, there's the pill form, right? There's the liquid form right here. This is the pill form. So there's 24 tablets in here. And I do know that, see, they make this in a cherry form so kids can take it. But it's going to be really hard to get that many tablets down a child's throat. See what I'm saying? So, and they make the dye-free stuff because the dye sometimes can cause, the adverse effects. Because this is designed to basically put you to sleep here. Unless you took it.
Remains. An arrest warrant says a bottle of blue sleep aid pills were found inside her family's Enfield home when she died back in March. It says it held 250 pills, but only 3 were left. It also says medical experts would have expected.
That's what I would think, but she just said, hold on a second. She just answered the question for me, I think, because she said there was only 3 pills left, so it was pill form. That's fucking weird.
Would have expected to find blue dye in Eve's entire. If she ingested those pills, and they didn't. But the warrant goes on to say it's possible the drugs may have been dye-free and could have caused the overdose. The official cause of death is still pending. The latest police warrant also reveals Eve's mother used Amazon to buy things, including medications, those sleeping pills, and a sexual pleasure device that, according to the warrant, she purchased for Eve. Eve's stepfather, Anthony Federline, is charged with sexually assaulting his.
Yeah, this is such a sad case. I may have to jump out of here and jump back in because of this computer issue I have.
Stepdaughter. Former Chief State's Attorney Chris Moreno says police need to know if the substances and.
Unbelievable. All right, hold on a second here. All right, so give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna jump out of here. I'm gonna try to jump back in and just give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna restart my computer. Give me 2 minutes here. That way we can get through this live without having issues with this computer. Hold on a second here. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so let me try to do this here. Hold on a second here. All right, very good. Let's try this.
Right now at 6, a 12-year-old Enfield girl should have been in middle school right now, but instead, sadly, police are trying to figure out how Eve Rogers wound up with a lethal dose of an over-the-counter drug in her system.
Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, is live with what new arrest warrants reveal and the questions they now raise. Susan.
Erin, we're talking about Benadryl, a trade name for a drug that many of us commonly use and have in our homes. But police say this young girl, Eve.
I just don't. I mean, we're going to be playing the latest on the Madeline Soto thing too, but I just don't understand how people can trust their children with just about anybody, right? I know it's a stepdad and stuff like that, but you know, it's just sad. Like it's just this poor kid. And then that much Benadryl. I mean, I don't know what was going on in that house, but that's a lot of Benadryl.
Rogers had nearly half a gallon of it in her system. They want to know how she was able to get so much of it. They also have some questions on purchases her mother made. A community seeking answers and justice for Eve. The latest warrant shows 23,000 nanograms per millimeter. That's how much diphenhydramine was found in Eve Rogers' body, more than 5 times a lethal dose for a child, and nearly twice as much as it would take to kill an adult. So how did a 12-year-old girl get that much of the drug, most commonly known as Benadryl, in her system? That question remains. An arrest warrant says a bottle of blue sleep aid pills were found inside her family's Enfield home when she died back in March. It says it held 250 pills, but only 3 were left. It also says medical experts would have expected to find blue dye in Eve's intestines if she ingested those pills, and they didn't. But the warrant goes on to say,
See, she keeps saying pills. So obviously it was pills, right?
it's possible the drugs may have been dye-free and could have caused the overdose. The official cause of death is still pending. The latest police warrant also reveals Eve's mother used Amazon to buy things, including medications, those sleeping pills, and a sexual pleasure device that, according to the warrant, she purchased for Eve. Eve's stepfather.
What? It's Nicole Watt. Avery's here too. Another true crime junkie is here. Nicole's here. Good to see Nicole Watt. It's always good to see you. Good to see Avery here. Heather's here too. There's Heather. Can't stay long here for a bit. Are you okay? I hope you're okay. I missed you. Sorry I wasn't here last week, guys. I was in just terrible situation last week, so I had to cancel the live. And you know me, I'm going to try to be here as much as I possibly can, but last week was just tough. But it's good to see Heather. Also good to see Avery. Fur Baby Daddy's in here. There's Nicole Watt. Good to see Nicole Watt. We're just going over this case of this Enfield girl here, Eve. Remember we had talked about her a few weeks ago. And they found way too much Benadryl in her system, and they found another drug in her system too, which I didn't know about. And I forgot what she said what drug, but I'm assuming that this was pills here. I'm going to replay this again because I've been doing something. Hold on a second here.
Dose for a child, and nearly twice as much as it would take to kill an adult. So how did a 12-year-old girl get that much of the drug, most commonly known as Benadryl, in her system? That question remains. An arrest warrant says a bottle of blue sleep aid pills were found inside her family's Enfield home.
So blue sleep aid pills, so they were definitely pills found inside her family's Enfield home. And this is saying on April 7, 2026. So this is, I'd like to download this if I can. If I can find this, I will.
Home when she died back in March. It says it held
250 pills, but only 3 were left. That's incredible. Somebody was taking a lot of Benadryl.
250 pills, but only 3 were left. It also says medical experts would have expected to find blue dye in Eve's intestines if she ingested those pills, and they didn't. But the warrant goes on to say it's possible the drugs may have been dye-free and could have caused the overdose. The official cause of death is still pending. The latest police warrant also reveals Eve's mother used Amazon to buy things, including medications, those sleeping pills, and a sexual pleasure device that, according to the warrant, she purchased for Eve.
Unbelievable. That last statement there. Why would she do that? That's incredible. Why would somebody do that? This girl's only 12 years old. I'm assuming that's what this is. The SD device. Not SD device, but SP device. That's just why would a mother do that?
Eve's stepfather, Anthony Federline, is charged with sexually assaulting his stepdaughter. Former Chief State's Attorney Chris Morano says police need to know if the substances in Eve's body caused her death.
And secondly, how did it get there? Those are going to be the areas of investigation, and there's quite a bit of work to be done before we can come to a conclusion, or investigators could come.
I'm telling you, like, just why would somebody have children if they're just going to do stuff like this to children? Now, I'm not trying to, like, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. I've never heard of that before. Why would somebody do that, buy something like that for a child who's 12 years old? That's just,
Come to a conclusion as to what occurred and who did it.
We were looking for some more answers today as to some of the details that have come out in these arrest warrants and the police arrest warrants and some of the other warrants. But unfortunately, we were told that the police chief was not.
You went to the fair today, lost 10 pounds of sweat. It must have been hot. Yeah, it must have been very hot. We love Heather. I hope Heather's well. Yeah, this is just disgusting. These cases right here. It mentally drain you. Why would somebody do this?
Not available today. As for Anthony Federline, again, he is charged with sexual assault. He is not charged with murder. He will be back in court later this month.
I mean, it'd be different if the mother bought it for herself, but if she specifically bought it for the child, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense.
Month. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live in Enfield tonight.
All right, so I'll keep an eye on that. It's kind of crazy. Let's stay in Connecticut. We'll go here because I was going to play this anyway, so we'll do this. We played this one already here. Play this one here.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here at 4. I'm Kevin.
Okay, so Farmington murder arrest. Woman charged after man's body found in the woods. 27-year-old Meriden woman is facing murder charge months after a man's body was discovered in the woods behind a condo complex in Farmington. Cynthia Martinez appeared in court on charges including murder and criminal use of a firearm. And this happened a day ago. Let's play this here.
Nathan, Amber has the day off. We start with developing news out of Farmington tonight. A woman is now charged with murder months after a man's body was discovered in the woods behind a condominium complex. Investigators are still releasing few details at this point, but court records are shedding new light on the case.
Miranda's here. We got Miranda in here. We got Becky's in here. Good to see Becky. Good to see Miranda. I haven't seen Miranda for a while. I'm glad you're here, Miranda. It's good to see you. It's always good to see Becky too. There was a time in my life that I thought Miranda was Jenny 8675309, but I don't think that now. But it's good to see Miranda.
NBC Connecticut's Matt Austin joins us live in Farmington with the very latest. Matt?
Yeah, so Kevin, today Farmington police are not saying much, at least publicly, about the case. But after digging through court records, we've learned that this case not only involves Farmington, but other police departments in the state. Today, Cynthia Martinez appeared in a court in Torrington on charges including murder. According to court documents, the 27-year-old is from Meriden, and she's also facing a charge of criminal use of a firearm. Now, Farmington police announced her arrest in connection with a case in their town. They say the body of a man was found in the woods behind a condo complex off of Talcott Forest Road in March. The man was identified as Derek Mercado Labonte. The 29-year-old was from Bridge.
We missed you too, Miranda. It's always good to see you here. Like I said, I hope you're well. I know you're not. I'm definitely not Jenny. 86752.
Report. Investigators reported he apparently had signs of trauma, and later his death was determined to be a homicide. At the time, police believed it was an isolated incident. So far, they have not revealed any other information about the case, including a possible motive and how.
I'm telling you, man, Connecticut's starting to go off the cliff here. They've had a lot of shit going on down there. And usually Connecticut's a pretty quiet state. Usually I don't hear a lot going on in Connecticut, but like at least 4 or 5 different incidents that I know of going on in Connecticut right now. So
the body might have ended up here. Court records revealed Martinez was arrested in Meriden about 2 weeks
Glock found in purse. They're going to do forensics on that for sure. Possible connection to the homicide. Yeah, absolutely.
Ago in a separate case. Meriden and Farmington police teamed up to search her car as part of a homicide investigation. Detectives say they found a Glock in a purse, and it was being looked at for its possible connection to a homicide. Martinez was charged in that case with improperly storing a firearm in a vehicle. Now, the arrest warrant in the murder case has been sealed for 2 weeks, and Martinez is being held on a bond of $1 million. We're live in Farmington, Matt Austin, NBC Connecticut News. Kevin, back to you.
She won't talk to me either if you're talking about Jenny. Yeah, it's the woman who's charged. I don't think they've released her name yet. 29, Derek. They've released the victim's name, but I don't think they've released the woman's name yet. All right, so let's move on to this here. Let's get into this other. This is the latest on the Madeline Soto case. Hold on, let me stop sharing this here. This is the one I wanted to play last week, I think. Last I knew, she was in bad shape. That's what I thought. All right, so JP's here. Good to see JP. Where's JP? There's JP right there. Good to see JP in here. There's JP's site there. Am I being raided by somebody? If I am, thank you. Yeah, last I knew that Jenny was not doing well, but I don't know how true that is, so I'm not going to speculate. Always good to see JP in here for sure. It would be nice to hear from Jenny though. Maybe she has problems that don't have anything to do with us. With the news being involved, it won't take long for them to release her name. Yeah, exactly. All right, so this is the latest on. I wanted to play this. I think it was last week. This is going back to the Madeline Soto case. Obviously, we know she was found unalived in the woods in St. Cloud, Florida, March 2024. Her mother's boyfriend, I think Stephen Stearns, was already doing time for the murder here. It's hard to believe he didn't get the chair for this. Maddie's mother has never been charged in any crime related to the case. However, speculation about behavior, interviews, and reactions after Maddie was reported missing has many outraged. So this is kind of like a deep dive into this whole case here to see if the mom knew anything at all.
videos of him doing it on his phone. The search for Madeline ended on the side of a Central Florida road where her body was found, and Stephen Stearns was arrested for murder.
Should I be talking with a lawyer right now?
Stearns pleaded guilty to everything and is serving life in prison. But everyone is still wondering, what about Madeline's mother, Jen Soto?
I am willing to take a lie detector test, whatever the you want, but I don't know anything.
Jen Soto was interrogated by police who went after her, but she's never been charged with.
So we were on a live, I think it was like 3 weeks now, and I was closing out the live, and somebody came into the chat claiming to be Jenny's daughter or something, or sister or something. I forget now. I'll have to go over that. Saying that she wasn't doing well. So I basically left my email in the chat and tried to figure out what was going on. But I haven't heard anything since. So I'm assuming Jenny's okay, but I don't know. It was kind of weird how that happened at the end of the stream. So, try not to think the worst, but don't take it to heart and know it's not your fault. It would be nice to hear from Jenny, though, for sure.
Anything. Since the beginning of this case, everyone's been talking about Madeline's mother, Jen Soto. How could she let this happen to her daughter? And how is it that she knew nothing about what was happening under her own roof? In this video, we're going to take a look at Jen Soto's police interview and answer those questions. What did she know, and when did she know it? I'm Vinnie Politan. Let's investigate. Madeline Soto was a little girl who never had a chance. She never had a chance because from the time she was a young girl, we believe going back to age 7, she began to be abused by her mother's boyfriend. A creep, a predator that she invited into their home. And for much of the time, it was the three of them. You have Jen Soto, her boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, and little Madeline. But from the time she's a little girl, she's being abused by this man. And that's her world. Like, that's the only world that she knows. And her mom was unable to protect her, whether she knew or didn't know. And that's the big issue here for everyone. How could she not know? Why didn't she know? How come she didn't protect her daughter from Stephen Stearns? Well, if you look,
This is such a sad, this whole case. It's just such a sad case.
look at what was going on between Jen and Steph. This was a bizarre relationship because it was an on again, off again relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend. But there were times where they were not engaging in any sexual activity whatsoever. And Jen Soto talks about this. Well, now looking at from where we see it now, we understand exactly what was taking place. Stephen Stearns found a woman with a daughter, a single mom with a daughter, and used Jen Soto to get to Madeline. But on the other hand, did Jen use
38 Special was there? Well, that's a good concert. Yeah, this is that's awesome that you got to hear some of that. 38 Special is amazing. See, that's the thing I don't like about this case is I don't understand. This is they said this in the last case, like why would a mother buy that kind of a thing for her daughter? But then again, in this case here, why would any mother be okay with her daughter sleeping in the same bed? It's just that's weird. I've never heard of that before.
Madeline to get Steph? And I think that's one of the issues that everyone has been thinking about since the beginning of this case. And a lot of it is because of the actions and words of Jen Soto herself.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he groomed her. Like this is something that's been going. This was something that was going on for a long time in this house. So that's another pointy red flag that says somebody must have known something was going on. I mean, this case here is just sad. This poor kid just didn't deserve any of it. She had no chance in life under this roof with this pig and with her mother. It's just sad.
The night that Madeline was murdered, Madeline was sent upstairs to go to Stephen Stern's room to sleep with him. Yes, you heard me correctly.
If that was my kid, regardless of whether or not I was with the mother or not, that would not happen, right? Like that would just that guy, no, that would not be happening. Oh, at all.
This 13-year-old girl's mother sends her 13-year-old daughter upstairs on another floor behind a locked door to go to bed with her boyfriend. Now, she claims she didn't know any of this was happening, the abuse. She saw him more as a stepfather figure in all of this. Now, what you're going to see in the interview that we play, Jen Soto's police interview, a lot of strange reactions to a lot of things that she learns during the course of this. And one of the things that stuck out to me was when she had learned at some point, and they confronted her with evidence that her daughter was being abused. And her initial reaction to all of this is,
I mean, you'd literally have to be pretty naive to not suspect something's going on. If and I usually try to give people the benefit of the doubt, but that one situation right there kind of sticks in my head. Like, why would somebody allow that? Why would somebody do that? You just can't trust anybody like that. It's it's not good. That's not supposed to happen. It's just not. It's not normal.
I guess Stephen Stearns may need a lawyer. What? These are the reasons that everyone's been looking at her in this way. Like, how on earth can a mother act this way when it's her own daughter? Then, to me, the most incriminating thing that she's said in all of this was when she explained that she was always afraid of a Woody Allen situation. Now, for those of you not familiar with Woody Allen, legendary director, actor, producer of movies, but he also was known for an incredible scandal with a young girl named Soon Yi, who became his wife, but who was the daughter of his girlfriend, the adopted daughter of his girlfriend. So somewhere in Jen Soto's mind, she was always afraid that maybe Stephen Stearns is going to.
I hope Dino's okay too. I haven't seen Dino. Well, I was in here last week, so I can understand why I haven't seen some people around for a while. But I just hope everybody's doing well. Sorry to hear that somebody had a bad cold. So Miranda Lee, I had a bad cold. How are people getting sick in the summertime? That's weird. I have a bad cold, but otherwise I'm good. Glad if people are leaving you alone. Dino was good, Dave. Okay, thank you, Heather.
Get with my daughter, but her fear wasn't for her daughter. Her fear was she was going to lose her man to her daughter.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry to keep stopping this. I forgot that Gretchen's in here too somewhere. And I hope Gretchen's doing well because I know she's been displaced by a tornado or bad weather. And I think she's not in the hotel anymore. So if you have if you have your GoFundMe and if that's still going on, feel free to throw it in the chat. Gretchen, Boston Christian just popped in. Hey, Boston Christian, how are you? Good to see you. Very, very good to see you. All right, here we go.
Daughter. Not that her daughter was going to be abused by an adult. This is some of that bizarre behavior that we're going to take a close look at now as we take you inside the interview room where Jen Soto is being questioned by police.
It was Sunday birthday party. She spent the whole day at my mom's house. They celebrated with the whole family. I was at work. I just started a new job last week or the week before.
Okay. Where's that at?
Walt Disney World at Coronado Springs.
See, I'm not trying to say anything here, but I don't know, man. This if I just, I'm not trying to be saint here, or if my daughter had this just happened to me, there's no way I'd be able to sit on the couch like this here and answer, these kind of questions. I'd be out of my freaking mind. Like, why am I answering like this? Is crazy.
Front desk concierge. I was finishing up my last day of. No, it wasn't even my last day training. I was still.
And I know everybody has a, specific way of grieving and stuff like that, but. Okay, thank you, Gretchen. There's Gretchen right there. Okay, so there's the GoFundMe for Gretchen right there. Thank you so much for dropping that. If you can't help donate, thank you, Heather, for that there too. So that's let's see here. I wish I could scroll that across the bottom here. That's Gretchen's GoFundMe right there. Okay, awesome. I hope Gretchen's doing well.
In the middle of training. Sunday in the middle of training. I couldn't miss to go to her birthday party. So I went to work. It was my family all day.
I mean, I do know that she's the only person working in this house, right? So she's got her daughter there, and I think she has another child too. I'm not sure. He didn't work. Stefan Stearns didn't work. So she's the breadwinner. So, and I understand, you try to find, people who can watch your child and stuff like that. But he's the last person I'd leave her with.
She had the best day. She was so happy when I got home and I saw her. At my house around 8:30 that night.
Hold it right there for a
I
second.
home.
I want to make this clear. Every time you hear that muting, they're muting Madeline's name because at this point, it's still a missing child. They have not found her body yet. So they're interviewing Jen Soto about that. But because she's a juvenile and they release the interrogation video, they've muted her.
Okay, so that's my fault. I didn't know. Okay, so this interview was done while they haven't actually found Maddie yet. So that's probably why she's a little bit chill here. It's what she sounds like. She sounds like she's very tired, like extremely exhausted.
Her name. So when you hear those little blips where there's no sound, they're mentioning Madeline's name. She's describing now what's happening in that last day. And Madeline had been at her birthday party, but her mother couldn't go to the birthday party. It was at her mom's and her sister's place close by. But the party happened. And then when they came back to the home, she's describing how Madeline was so happy and had such a great day. This is her 13th birthday. It's a big day, right? You go from now I'm a teenager. Madeline Soto is now a teenager. Let's continue to watch.
She got dropped off alone. About 10 to 15 minutes later, Stefan showed up.
At your house in Kissimmee?
At my house in Kissimmee, he called me. Or he texted me, I don't remember. But he let me know he was there and that she was getting ready for bed. She was doing her routine. So she took her nighttime meds and she got in the shower to get ready for bed.
What meds? What does she take?
This foot here, right? This foot here. If you concentrate on this foot long enough, you'll end up going insane.
She takes hydroxyzine.
Okay.
Um,
What is it for?
it's for anxiety and for sleep.
Okay.
Now hold it right there. And she's 13. She's taking this medicine. Why do you think she has anxiety? Could it have anything to do with years of abuse? And this is one of the unanswered questions in all of this.
So, like every time I hear this is just so. This is not supposed to happen, right? This is not a normal thing here. This is just so. This poor kid just.
This is did Madeline tell anyone about this? Because if she had told, whether it's a doctor or a treating psychologist or someone, they would have to report it. So apparently, through all these years, Madeline never reached out to anyone to talk about specifically what was happening to her. And the one way I kind of explain it is, if this has been your norm, this has been your life since you're a little girl, as long as you could basically remember, like your memory doesn't go back much further than 7 or 6 years old.
All of the 6 babies from. Oh my God. Oh, that's terrible. Only thing we can attribute is inbreeding. All of the others from 2 litters are quickly growing. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. Sorry to hear that. Think it's inbreeding? Somebody else said something in here too. Oh, right here. Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't trust my kids with anybody. That's sad to hear that. That's terrible, Tracy.
If that's her entire life, maybe for her, it's, yeah, this is what you do. This is normal. So I would not reach out to someone about it. But obviously, it's creating issues.
And the sad thing is that this stuff happens a lot more than people think it does. This stuff here, these kind of pigs and these kind of perverts are everywhere. And it happens a lot more frequently than people think. It doesn't get better, fortunately.
For this little girl. Let's go back in.
Now, could she take that by herself, or would he have given that to her?
I think she took it by herself. She got home and she had already taken it.
How do you know that?
That's what he told me.
That's what he told you. Okay.
He was there when you got home? You got home, they were already at the apartment? Okay.
I don't like her taking her meds without somebody visually watching her, because I don't want her to accidentally grab the wrong pill. She's comfortable enough to grab the pill while, but I'm like, no, I need to watch you take them.
Has there ever been an issue with that in the past, if you took too many or took the wrong thing? Or just like a thought in your mind?
No, just a thought in my mind, just me being hypervigilant. I want to physically watch her take her meds and watch her grab 2, take them. I don't ever want there to be an accident of she took too many, or my biggest fear is that she would take Adderall by accident, her daytime meds.
Got it.
Adderall? Unbelievable. So since I lost last week, I may do another live this week at some point. I don't know when it's going to be. I got a lot of shit that I got to cover. And I'm not going to be able to do it all tonight, obviously. And I'm going to, try to fit it into a live. It's never going to happen. So I might actually do another live at some point this week to try to, or maybe I'll do a recording. I don't know, but I got a lot of stuff that, obviously I'm just not going to be able to get to in a normal live. So, to be announced, I guess.
That poor girl.
I got home around 10:30. I started getting ready for bed.
It's just absolutely crazy that people, the burdens that people put on their kids these days, like that's insane to take on our own meds. There's this question here too that I missed up on the top. Was Maddie pregnant? If that's why he did it, I asked the same question. I still haven't gotten an answer on that. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that would have came back on the, but they might have. Who knows? I don't know. She kind of looks like Jodi Arias, yeah, a little bit. But they might not have been able to inform the public if she was pregnant because she was a minor. I don't know, but I don't know. That's a good question. I asked that too.
Myself, I started eating and taking my meds because I have to take meds. When I went to take my meds, I realized, oh my God, I forgot to take my Saturday night's meds, which is why I felt so weird and so abnormal and not myself Sunday while I was at work. Everyone at work noticed I was acting different and not being myself. Like I couldn't smile in front of the guests. I felt this wave of depression that I hadn't felt in years. It was my bipolar symptoms coming up again that I've been medicating myself for.
So she's bipolar too. That's not good.
For all this time. I realized I forgot to take my meds and I said, you guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds. I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom so that I could get a good night's sleep.
Hold it right there.
That's just oh my God. That's just I mean, I've heard this before, and every time I hear this, I just don't this is not a normal situation. You don't send your child up into a bedroom
in years. It was my bipolar symptoms coming up again that I've been medicating myself for all this time. I realized I forgot to take my meds and I said, you guys, I need a good night's sleep. I need to take my meds. I sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom.
See, she sent them to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom. To sleep in the guest bedroom. This is just crazy. This is just not normal. You don't do that. Nobody does that. Even if you're dead tired. I'm not sending my daughter up to sleep in the same room with my boyfriend. That's just, I don't know. That's fucked up. Sorry for the French. That's just, who does that? That doesn't,
so that I could get a good night's sleep.
Hold it right there. So all three of them apparently are in the master bedroom. And Jen Soto, mom,
I'm assuming that the spare, when she says the guest bedroom, I'm assuming that means that since he's there, he sleeps in, her room, the mom's room, right? And a guest bedroom is basically Maddie's room. Just, and I don't think that's a slip of the tongue because she says that pretty fluently. Like she just says, so I sent them upstairs to sleep in the guest, but like that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable, man. Sorry.
I need my sleep. So Madeline, you and my boyfriend, who never married her, all these years never married her, you two go upstairs to the guest bedroom and you guys go to sleep up there so I can relax down here.
It's just freaking sad, man. It's just, this is a 13-year-old kid, and how many years she was being groomed and just 3, 4, 5, 6 years, maybe. I don't know. It's just this kid never had a chance. It's just so horribly sad. And this woman here, she's dealing with her own issues, right? She's a mom. She's got bipolar problems. She's got to work. But to just blatantly blurt that out like that is just telling me that she felt like this was a normal thing. This is not normal. You don't do that. I'd never do that. I would never ever do that ever in a lifetime. I don't care if I was dead on the floor tired. That's not going to happen. The daughter comes to sleep, in her own room, and the boyfriend can go fuck himself or go, go home, go do something else with your life. That's just not normal, man.
Now, Jen Soto's never been charged with anything. If she was, and the jury heard that, how do you think that would land? How do you think that would land? It's not proof of anything. Like, it's not proof of knowledge that she knows what's going to happen in that room, which is, ongoing abuse. And in this case, on this night.
And from what I heard is he wasn't even living there. He was apparently living at his parents' house. So he was just kind of like free to come and go whenever he wanted to. And when he was there, it's just this whole thing is just such a sad, horrible case. The guy is a piece of shit. There's no doubt in my mind. The guy, I'm surprised he didn't get the DP. That's what I would have given him. But after hearing the mom here a few times, it's just not normal to do this. This is not normal behavior.
Right. It results in murder. But she's directing them, admittedly directing them. And this is not a huge house. It's a townhouse. It's 2,500 square feet, but it's built up and down. It's not a sprawling home. So her bedroom's downstairs. Madeline doesn't have her own bedroom. She has sort of a bed in the living room, but for whatever reason, she doesn't live there or sleep there. She either sleeps with her mother or she gets sent to the guest bedroom, to Stefan's room, to go behind that locked door. And that's what happened that night. And that's why people from the beginning have been questioning Jen Soto. How does a mom do that? Why would you do that?
Could anybody be that ditzy? Do you think somebody is that ditzy that they would just let that happen? Maybe she's on, maybe the mom's on so many prescription drugs because of her bipolar or whatever that she's just ditzy like that. She's just like, I need some sleep. Get out of here. Go to your room and go to sleep. I just don't believe that. I don't think that's normal. That would never happen in my house.
Do that. It's kind of unusual, kind of strange. But it seems like what she's saying, she trusted him like a father figure for Madeline. Let's go back in.
Suggested that we all sleep together in the same bed together, but not the easiest person to sleep with. She rolls around, she punches, she kicks. We have a king size bed and she typically sleeps on one side and she'll end up on my side when we wake up.
Okay.
So I asked her, I'm like, no, please, I need a good night's sleep. If you guys can go upstairs and let me sleep. I had asked Stefan to take her to school in the morning. And then I told them to start getting ready for bed, to start heading upstairs and get ready because it was already almost 11 o'clock. It's past her bedtime. She needs to go to sleep. So I sent them upstairs. I think he may have come down at one point to pee before bed. And then he went back upstairs. He uses my restroom because the roommate.
Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. This is just,
Upstairs, don't want to share a restroom with a male.
Okay.
Hold it right there.
He uses my restroom.
She's mentioning roommates. So there's another bedroom and apparently, or maybe two more bedrooms. She has people who pay to stay there, right? So they rent rooms within her townhouse. So these are more witnesses in the house. And
this is such a funny comment here. 11 p.m. bedtime. She's a shitty parent in every way. People just glossed over that whole king bed thing, right? Normally we all sleep together. What the fuck? That's not normal, man. She's a 13-year-old kid. That's not normal. Normally we all sleep together in the same bed, but that night I wanted to get some sleep because no, we don't all sleep together. That's just not. That's just not normal, man. I don't care what anybody says. I've never heard of that in my life.
You look at it this way, right? So a lot of people pointing the finger at Jen Soto because she doesn't know what's happening under her roof. But there are also other people living in the house. And I've got to believe that if they thought this abuse was taking place, they would have done something about it. I hope they would have if they saw a little girl being abused. But Jen Soto now has medicated her daughter, made sure that she takes something that helps sort of knock her out, and then puts her in the bed with a grown.
I shouldn't be laughing. This is not funny, but the way Vinny sometimes says stuff, and he's absolutely right. Like this is atrocious behavior by any parent. I don't care how freaking tired you are. You just don't allow this to happen. This is just not. I don't know, man.
And at this point of the relationship, the way she's described it at times, they're not hot and heavy at this point. It's almost as if like he sort of helps her, get Madeline to school, and she is sort of helping him out because
Cindy Lean's here. Good to see Cindy Lean. Always good to see you here. Vinny is good. When I first started watching Vinny years and years ago, I really didn't care for him because of his, he's a prosecutor and whatever. But Vinny's good. Vinny's cool. How can you not like Vinny? Vinny's awesome.
He doesn't work, doesn't earn money, doesn't have a place to live, was supposed to move back down with his parents, and that job fell through. So it's really, like I said, a bizarre.
Yes, Stefan Stearns is a useless piece of dog shit. Just doesn't work, has no life, has no empathy. He's just a horrible human being that should never, ever be anywhere in society, anywhere close to society. But the way the mom's talking right now, too, man, it's just, I don't know how somebody can be this negligent. I just don't. This is really awful. You just can't say anything more. It's just awful that this kid had to go through this stuff, because I'm sure at some point the kid probably thought it was normal. This is normal behavior, but it's furthest thing from normal here.
Relationship that's taking place that sort of feeds into everything that is happening at this moment, as Jen Soto sends her daughter basically to her death by sending her upstairs to sleep with Stefan Stearns.
Yeah, because she didn't want him sleeping all in the same bed. That's, it was a night where she wanted to get sleep. So instead of them all being in the same bed, it's just, this is ridiculous.
Let's watch some more.
It's Unscripted Chronicles here. I think that's it. Always good to see PJ in here. We hope PJ's doing well. PJ's got a great channel. She's amazing. Does great work. You guys are on too early in the day. I'm not up, but I try to watch all the replays. We know she knew everything. Scumbag liar, absolutely. But Unscripted's got a great channel. It's always good to see you for sure. Feel free to throw your channel in here too. PJ's got PJ's awesome.
You're fine.
See, this is the reason why I couldn't have been a cop, though. I can't believe these are the things I probably wouldn't be able to sit through. Like, I'd have approached it like, why are you allowing this to happen? This is stupid. This is dumb.
Sunday night he came downstairs, maybe overnight, to use the restroom.
Yeah, and then he went back upstairs and they went to sleep. Or right, I think they went to sleep.
Okay.
I went to sleep. I was woken up at some time For the longest time, I've been saying he woke me up at 8 o'clock in the morning because I assumed he was taking her to school and getting ready for school.
Sorry about that. Hold on a second. Unscripted.
But in reality, I don't know what time he woke me up. The sun was out a little bit. It was still a little dark. And I was very sleepy when I got up. I was kind of drunk. But he came in to walk the dog, to put the leash on the dog and walk him.
Was the dog in the room with you?
Yes.
So did he wake you up on purpose, or was it just kind of like the causation of him opening the door and you realizing somebody was there?
Yeah, the causation of him putting the leash on the dog, because the way the dog reacted, he gets very nervous and will urinate. If you put the leash on him too directly, you have to like be nice and talk to him. Yeah, he's a very, he's a nervous dog, yeah. So I got up to try to help him, and he said, no, go back to sleep. I'm fine, I got this. And I said, you sure? He said, yeah. So I laid back down and went to sleep. I heard noise in the kitchen.
Okay, so I think I fixed that. I think let's see here. I think I made you a mod again. But the Mustang did it anyways. But there you go. So you're a mod again, I think. Yeah, after watching this here, I agree with that. I don't know.
But I'm not sure who.
She may be just that naive. You know, she may be just very, very naive, because she seems like she has her own problems. She's bipolar. She seems like, you know, she's on her own medication. But I'm with Dewey here. I think you know, she should have at least known the consequences of doing something like this here. It's just not normal. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of anything like that before. So
Who could have been getting ready, but it could have been Stefan. It could have been any of my roommates. I fell asleep again, and I didn't wake up, I think, until 9 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, because she sounds here right now, the way she's talking, she sounds like she's almost sleeping right now. Like she's basically just, you know, bundle of nerves. She's basically probably hasn't slept in 24 hours or so. I guarantee you, if she probably fell down on one of these pillows here, she'd probably go right to sleep. So, I mean, I don't want to bash her too much, but the whole behavior here is just, you know, it's not good. It's not good.
Morning.
Did you ever leave the bedroom in that time frame?
No.
So he came in, you were kind of awoken up based on him interacting with the dog, but you stayed in bed, you didn't leave the bedroom. So if you woke up at like 9, so you never.
That morning.
Monday morning.
No.
So the last time you would have.
Yeah, she just, you know, obviously there's a two strike thing here with her, right? I don't know where the biological father is. You know, I'm not saying this is his fault or anything, but you know, as a parent, you try to do the best you can for your children. But she's definitely the breadwinner here. You know, she's probably working. It's expensive to live in Florida. You know, it's not easy, but you know, she's probably working 12-hour days. She's probably really tired at night. She has her own mental issues here, as far as, you know. But what I'm saying though is, she has to be the most naive woman to not know that if you send your, you know, child up to sleep in a room, or be in a room with a grown man that's not even her dad, her real dad, but not even like a stepdad or anything, that this red flags, this bugles being played. Like this is and then you know, after she said that, she's talking about them all sleeping in the same bed. That's not normal either. That's not normal.
You would have been Sunday evening? Okay.
Okay, so I kind of knew this, that the biological father was yeah, I'm not saying he had, you know, but if I was the biological father and this was happening to my daughter, I would want to know, right? And if this was happening and I did know, somebody would be paying the price for that, because that's not going to happen. That's just not, you know.
Take a minute.
Finally, some emotion there at the end. Now, she has issues, obviously. She's medicated herself. She's admitted all that she's taken meds. So when you try to read body language and emotion and everything else, what exactly is going on with her? What's her baseline affect like? Why is she reacting this way? At the end there, though, there are some tears here. Like that's the realization that something went.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably trying to keep it together. She's probably trying to. I'm pretty tired, not feeling the greatest this week. How you doing? I hope you feel better, Cindy. Whatever you do, don't get that. There's a bug going around, some sort of a, stomach bug. Don't get that.
Went bad. Something went really bad here. But it all comes back to the initial premise of how did she not know? How did she not figure out what was going on? And why was she so easily persuaded by everything that Stefan Stern said? Everything that he said is basically she regurgitates. And initially, that's what she was doing on television and in other places, telling the story of what happened that day. She's basically telling everyone what Stefan Stern's told her. Well, we know that's all a lie. So what was this relationship? Did she know? Did she turn a blind eye? To prove a case against her, though, you need the actual evidence. You need some admission by her that she knew something, or some communication that, hey, she's in the loop. She understands what's happening. And in this part of this interview, that's not coming out. What is coming out, though, are things that make her look horrific, horrible, bad mother, not caring about Madeline, caring more about herself. The next part of the interview I want to take a look at is Jen Soto talking about the day of the disappearance, right? Because this begins as a missing persons investigation. They report Madeline missing. So here's Jen talking about what's happening that day. And I want you to pay close attention to what she is saying Stefan Stearns is telling her. Because again, it's that relationship that we're really examining here. Are they in this together? Do they both know what is happening here? Or is Stefan Stearns using Jen and keeping her in the dark about all of this abuse and ultimately the murder of her daughter? So let's watch.
Had my appointment. I finished there sometime between 11:15. Then I headed home. When I got home, Stefan was there. I had talked to him a little bit earlier while I was waiting for my blood work appointment, and he let me know, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I left my phone at home by accident. School, everything went great. She got up super early, got up really quick. She slept most of the way in the car. I asked her multiple times if she wanted McDonald's, but she said no. Because that was the plan, was that they were going to stop at McDonald's that morning and go get breakfast.
Right.
He said that he had gone to the vape shop and they were closed and they didn't open. So he waited there for a while and left, and then said he was going to go back later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but if somehow I would have found out that she was, sleeping in the same room with this guy, no. All right, what was I just going to do? She hasn't been charged with anything, I don't think. High grass pollen stress, maybe just all the things. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, there's definitely pollens out there for sure. It's been pretty nice here. It's kind of cool tonight. That's why I'm not outside, but it's supposed to go back up again next week. I'll take all the heat you can give me. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I probably wasn't going to play this whole thing today anyways, but maybe we'll do part 2 next week because I got too much other shit I got to get through tonight. This is just a horrible case. It's every way you look at it, this case here is just terrible. All right, let's going to go to the Hooker case here now. Hold on a second here. I'll cover a little of this too, because this came out. When did this came out? This came out basically a couple of days ago, but there's more information that seems to be leaking every second with this Hooker case. So we kind of followed this a few weeks ago about this this woman here who kind of fell off the sailboat here, Lynette Hooker. I don't know if you guys remember that. Remember the Hookers, TJ Hooker. Let's see. There seems to be a few more developments in this case here. So here's this. Let me back this up a little bit. Hold on one second here.
Taken its biggest turn yet. Stunning new information that could completely change what authorities believe happened to Lynette Hooker, the Michigan woman who vanished.
Yeah, I love the muggier, hotter, the better for me. Everything works better here with me. The hotter and the more humid it is. Like I breathe better. I can't stand a really dry, cool air. It just doesn't work with me. So I'll take this stuff here. But it's kind of chilly tonight. It's going to drop down into the low 50s tonight, I think, for sure.
During a sailing trip in the Bahamas. From the very beginning, her husband, Brian Hooker, told investigators that Lynette fell from the couple's dinghy during a late-night ride, hit the water, swept away by strong currents, led him to paddle back to shore alone. And despite an extensive search, Lynette has never been found. But right now, Ashley Banfield has new reporting that can turn that entire timeline on its head. Sources tell Ashley that investigators now believe Lynette may have made it back onto the couple's sailboat, the Soulmate, before she disappeared, a scenario that would directly contradict her husband's account. That's just the beginning, by the way. Ashley has also learned that investigators believe there is evidence of a struggle aboard the Soulmate. So that raises the possibility that whatever did.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much 90 degrees on Monday here, 94 on Tuesday, and then 91 on Wednesday. Hold on a second. Let's see, Thursday. Pretty close to 90 on Thursday. So I'll freaking take it. That's perfect for me. That's like still kind of cool at night. Like Wednesday night's going to be 64. But I'm not going to complain. It's good. I'll take it.
It happened to Lynette, didn't happen on the dinghy at all, but on the sailboat. And the Coast Guard also has already seized both the Soulmate and the dinghy, taking them to the Coast Guard station in Fort Lauderdale. You can see the Soulmate there in this exclusive video shot by Ashley's Drop Dead Serious podcast team. And investigators have also been analyzing evidence from the boat at the FBI's lab in Quantico. Now, to be clear, Brian Hooker has not been charged with any crime. He has denied any wrongdoing, and we've reached out for comment from his attorneys. But earlier today, I got a chance to speak with Ashley Banfield, the host of Drop Dead Serious. This is her conclusion based on these new potential details, which she, by the way, was the first to uncover. Take a look. Ashley Banfield, oh my gosh, so good to see you. I'm made of questions here. First, let me start off. Your sources are saying that it's possible Lynette made it back onto the Soulmate. What changed? Was it witnesses? Wow. Was it surveillance? Was it forensic material? I mean, how do we know that or possibly know that?
And it isn't just possible. It is. The evidence is clear and defining. She made it back on board, Jesse, and she was dead on board that boat. And no, I have not been given specifics, but I can tell you this. It's not witnesses, it's forensic evidence. And you know, forensics can be so much. It can be digital, it can be biological, it can be so many things. And so I'm scraping my sources. And I've got sources from Washington to Florida to the Bahamas to even California that I'm scraping on this. And so I hope to come up with that pretty soon. But this is a game changer.
In other words, are we talking a struggle on the soulmate? Is that what happened?
Yes. Signs of a struggle, signs of foul play, and that Lynette was dead on board. And I can tell you this, we've just broken the news. Lynette was dead before 8 p.m.
Okay. So how do we again, what would lead that to that timeline? What kind of, is it the forensic evidence again? How do we know that timeline that before 8 p.m.?
This is such an incredible puzzle. And I've been working these sources every which way but Sunday. And I've been given that definitive statement, but they won't give me the details as to what the forensics are. I think I'm going to get those details. It's just kind of like molasses at this point, but it is, my sources are absolutely clear and definitive. She was dead before 8 p.m. and she was dead on Soulmate, which then throws the entire story of Brian Hooker out.
In other words, if these allegations are true, does that mean that he then allegedly put her on the dinghy? I mean, how does that change the sequence of events?
Right. So this is the holy grail at this point. What happened to Lynette? And I'll tell you, her family is apoplectic, as you would be, wanting to know, where's our loved one? Will we ever find her? Will we get remains at least? And this is the piece that I'm still working on as well. What if Brian Hooker is a murderer? And the Coast Guard Investigative Service changed this. They said it is a murder investigation. Then what happened to the body? How did Lynette end up off of Soulmate, and when was she taken off of Soulmate? Because one thing we do know, Coast Guard Investigative Service has Soulmate, and they have ripped it apart. She's not on it now.
The next logical question is, how come he hasn't been arrested? Has he been confronted with this information? What's going on behind the scenes?
So I can tell you this, originally, Brian Hooker got himself a local lawyer in Michigan. And I was curious about this lawyer, did some work, figured out she had not done a...
This is an interesting case to me because I don't know how they're going to prove this. Like, if you listen to some of the reporting that's being done in this case, some of the I don't want to say fake news, but some of the spectacular news, or like, I don't know how they are going to prove this here. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but some of this is very speculative, in my opinion, and this could have been just an accident. But I don't know, like, how they're, like I said, it's possible they can prove it, but very unlikely, in my opinion, even if something did happen.
Case like this before, or what was an impending case. And so he, in the last few weeks, switched, and he got himself a former U.S. attorney. And so this is now someone who understands federal law, presumably understands the severity of what Brian Hooker is likely facing. Because look, you know how it works, Jesse. You know how the feds work. They front load their investigations and then they arrest. The state level, they usually get to about probable cause and then they arrest and then they build their case for a year or two. The feds are usually ready to go to trial in like a couple of months. So you ask why no arrest just yet? This is my spidey senses, not my sources telling me this. They're getting it all put together. They're crossing T's, dotting I's, and getting like 85 to 90% of the case done before I
mean, I think a lot of this news here is just sensationalism sometimes. I mean, they're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. But I mean, at least somebody's covering it, right? I mean, if there is something going on here, it is good to have somebody kind of, reporting on it. But I don't know how they're going to prove it. How are they going to prove it that they were alone? I mean, I'm not saying he didn't do anything nefarious. I'm just saying they'd probably need a lot of evidence to prove this, and I don't know if they can get it.
expect there will be an indictment.
But we don't know if he's been confronted with this information and interrogated about it or anything like that.
I can tell you this. He got himself a lawyer, and it's a lawyer who's got federal experience. So my assumption is...
Yeah, I would have gotten myself a lawyer, too. I mean, what's wrong with getting a lawyer? I mean, especially if they're suspicious of you, right? Like if they're suspicious of you, even if you didn't have anything to do with it at all, you've got to get a lawyer because they're coming at you. And, I would have gotten a lawyer too.
He has said, I'm not talking, but I can't tell you that for sure.
Ashley, just to circle back, the family. Is the family being updated about this? Are they a part of this conversation? They know what's going on with the investigation?
I talk to them every day, Jesse, and this is the hardest time for them because they feel like they're in the dark. They are getting updates as is possible. I mean, you know how it works. Investigators try so hard to continue to update families and keep them in the mix, but they can't tell them everything, and they certainly can't tell a lot. So the investigators are telling the family enough.
I mean, I'm not saying he didn't do anything. I'm just saying, how are they going to prove it? Where's the proof? I mean, for one, they don't have her body at all. So, I mean, she could have just fallen overboard. And in those waters, anything can happen, man. So, I'm kind of glad I would have gotten a lawyer too, for sure.
Enough, but I guess it's never enough, honestly. So they are being updated. They're just not getting the full picture. And of course, the biggest question that they don't have answered is, where is our loved one? And that's something I'm not sure we're going to get.
That's the number one question. Listen, Ashley, you just gave us a lot to think about, processing that. Great to see you. Thanks for coming on. You know you have an open platform whenever you get information to come on and tell us.
So that's the end of that there. Just wanted to play that, get that off the list here. I'm keeping on following the case, though, because I think it's an interesting case for sure. But I do want to get into the first missing person case of the week here. And that this happened this week here, and I might play the one I was going to play last week here. But anyways, I pulled up the information already on this case here. And we try to feature this kind of missing series every single week we can here. And this is about the this 40-year-old case for Christopher Abeda's disappearance. How common are infant abductions? This may be a little triggering to some people because this is a toddler here. This week, Missing Series looks at the case of Christopher Abeda out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. The 7-month-old parents were sleeping beside him when he was taken from the crib in the middle of the night. This week will mark 40 years since his disappearance. His parents have passed away. His sister is determined more than ever to bring him home. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children tells us cases of infant abduction are extremely rare, with over just 340 confirmed cases reported in the United States in the last 60 years. So that's kind of low. I think that's actually kind of high. I mean, but they're calling this kind of a rare incident where infant abductions take place. And I'm pretty sure most of the time it's related to, parental stuff or, the affiliates have tracked the story over the years, talking with those close to the case, including the admission from Christopher's father that sent the case into a tailspin. So let's play this here and we'll get going on this.
We are committed to telling their stories. This week's featured case is a baby taken from his crib in the middle of the night. A mother wakes up to the nightmare of her child simply gone. This is Christopher Abeda, 7 months.
I mean, who does it? Who's going to go into somebody's house, steal a baby sleeping in the same room as the parents? Just crazy.
Old when he was abducted from his home in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That was 1986.
What I remember most out of it is her eyes and her looking at me, and it was fear, like I've never seen my mom before.
The reason police focused their initial investigation on the family and the admission by Christopher's father that sent this case into a tailspin. That is coming up as we look into this missing mystery. First, though, several other updates on missing cases. There is still $1,000 reward in the disappearance and kidnapping of Maria del Carmen Lopez. Maria is a dual citizen with family living in the U.S. She was abducted from her home in Pueblo Nuevo, Colima, Mexico, February 9th, 2023. Maria's family got a call from her kidnappers demanding a ransom, and even
She looks like she's having a good time here in this video. This looks like a wedding of some sort.
heard Maria plead for her life. Despite 2 men arrested in the case that police say are connected to this and other kidnappings, Maria has still not been found. Anyone with information on Maria del Carmen Lopez's whereabouts can contact the FBI. This week was Amy Hilliard's 53rd birthday, the missing.
So this case right here, this Maria del Carmen Lopez case, that's kind of similar in a few ways to the Guthrie case. And I'm still trying to follow this Amy Hilliard case here. This is very strange here.
She co-owns a coffee shop with her husband in Oakland, California. Amy's husband, Chris, says Amy loves birthdays and liked to hike on her special day at sunrise. He took a hike this week to honor Amy and shine a light on her unsolved case. There is a $25,000 reward in.
This case here is very, very, this case here is strange in so many different ways, I think. But I haven't heard anything coming out on this case in a few weeks, so I wonder what's going on.
Her case to bring Amy home. You can contact the Oakland Police Department with any information about Amy's whereabouts. From our friends at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, several missing teens to share with you. Juan Garcia has been missing since June 20th, 2026. He is from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Justice Elder is missing. She is 14 years old from Phoenix, Arizona, missing since June 18th. And this is Summer Thompson, missing since May 3rd of this year. Summer is from Mesa, Arizona.
There's just so many missing persons cases that happen every single freaking week.
She's also 14 years old. Anyone with information on any of these missing teens can contact local police or call 1-800-THE-LOST. Now to this week's featured case. Next week marks 40 years since Christopher Abeyta was taken from his crib in Colorado Springs, Colorado. 4 decades later, the family is not giving up. Our News Nation affiliates have tracked this story over the years, talking with those closest to the case. Although Christopher's parents have since passed away, his sister is determined to bring him home.
He was an innocent baby, and it doesn't just happen, and it is rare.
Christopher Abeyta was just 7 months old when he was taken from his crib while his parents, Gil and Bernice, slept beside him.
It was a calm night. It was a peaceful night, summertime, and we had company over for dinner. My father, my mom and dad had been separated, but they'd been reconciling, so he was over the house.
Family and friends watching Christopher mark a milestone.
She did a pretend sneeze and he laughed again. And then the flowers he pulled himself up onto the coffee table. That was the first time ever that he pulled himself up.
Christopher's sister, Denise, gave him his bottle, and she and her mom put him to bed in his crib. But by morning, their life was changed forever.
You actually never forget the first day.
Okay, so let's go over here. I just did an AI overview on this case here. Hold on a second. So Christopher and Enoch Abeyta is a high-profile American missing person who was abducted as a 7-month-old infant. So basically, just less than a year old, from his crib in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Babies actually sleep in cribs because On July 5th, 1986, so this is in the summertime, 1986 in Colorado. Despite decades of active searching, his case remains one of Colorado's most prominent unsolved infant kidnappings. Let's see here. On the night of July 14th, 1986, Christopher's family hosted dinner guests at their home. So they had a dinner party the night before at their house. His parents, Gil and Bernice Abeta, has been separated, but were in the process of reconciling, meaning his father was staying at the house that evening. So the father was there that evening. Christopher's older sister fed him a bottle and put him to bed in his crib, which sat just a few feet away from his parents. At approximately 6 a.m. the following morning, his mother awoke to find Christopher gone. I would have immediately interviewed every single person that was at this house at the dinner. At approximately 6 a.m. the following morning, his mother awoke to find Christopher gone. The basement or front door left open. The basement or front door left open and a blanket missing. So they probably took him in the blanket. That's telling me they took the blanket with the child here. It's telling me that they didn't plan on doing anything, any harm, because they took the blanket with them, right? No one in the house reported hearing any intruders. All right, so persons of interest, Emma Bradshaw, public court documents and family disclosures name Emma Bradshaw, who was the mistress of Gil, and a primary person of interest. Bradshaw allegedly had a history of stalking and harassing other men, and the family traced repeated hang-up phone calls to her office. So there were phone calls coming from the office of her. Her initial alibi for the night has also faced public contradiction in subsequent civil testimony. However, authorities have stated there's never been enough hard physical evidence to secure an arrest warrant. So they haven't been able to arrest her. And like Colorado is known for police mishandling, the investigation has faced scrutiny. In 2006, the Colorado Springs Police Department admitted that thousands of archived evidence pieces, including key items, were accidentally destroyed. Like, that's just, Colorado is notorious for this shit, man. They just, I think he eventually was declared dead. Strange thing is, why would they take the blanket with them if they wanted to do, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. Obviously, if you take the blanket with the baby, you want to keep the baby safe. All right, so let's get out of this really quick here. We'll come back to this in a second. And we'll go back to this video. I've already been here an hour and 49 minutes, and I haven't done anything yet. That's the sad part. That's my life, man. That's there's so many things I want to cover every single week. There's just not enough time.
In the first hours of what happened, you don't believe it. You're in shock.
About 6 a.m, Bernice woke and saw that Christopher wasn't in his crib. She went to check to see if one of her 6 other children had taken him for a bottle, but they were all asleep. In a panic, she woke them up.
What I remember most out of it is her eyes and her looking at me, and it was fear, like I've never seen my mom before.
Yeah, by this time you have sort of a panic.
I think it's highly possible that this kid is out there somewhere and he has no idea of his true identity. And when you're 7 months old, it's going to be really hard for you to have any memory of your, I think this is an abduction case for sure. That's just my opinion.
Panic going on. You got the kids all shook up. Bernice is laying on the ground.
The house quickly filled with family and police.
It was very calm. There was no tape, like they weren't taping off the house. There was no fingerprints being taken. even though a baby's gone and missing, it was just like somebody had a stolen bike.
Police questioned the family. It was then that Gil admitted he was having an affair.
My parents had been separated since March. That night Christopher was taken was the first night that he stayed at the house. And they'd been reconciling.
But in those early days, police focused.
This is a beautiful picture right here. Look at this picture. Like, this is just, whoever took this picture did a fantastic job.
Focused on Bernice.
So they put us all together as suspects, the whole family, but really they were after Bernice. And Bernice had never had any history.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. It doesn't feel like I am.
Whatsoever of anything that even come close.
The family hired a private investigator, tracking every lead. And then in January, they began getting hang-up calls, just like calls they had gotten before Christopher went missing. Police put a tracer on the phone, and they were tracked back to the office of a woman that Gil had had an affair with. Bernice had asked Gil to remain in contact with her in case there was a connection to Christopher's disappearance. The woman asked him to haul out some trash from her mom's house. He obliged, and he and Bernice sorted through it on their lawn, finding phone records of those hang-up calls, both to their home and Christopher's grandparents' house.
The phone bill was from her mother's house, her parents' house, but it had...
Look at this. This is what we grew up with right here. This is a phone, an actual phone. This is actually new technology in my day with the push button and the cord, right? The phone on the wall. This is something you don't see these days. This is a gone away thing, the phone on the wall. And they came out with these wonderful cords over time. They came in all different colors. Remember that? All different colors and sizes. You used to be able to get the extension cords for these that were like sometimes 100 feet. So you could take this part of the phone right here while you were talking on it and go into different rooms. But this right now, this thing here is an artifact. That's so sad. These things used to be in everybody's home, at least one on the wall. And these push buttons replaced the dials. Remember the dials? My, have things changed, bro. It's so funny.
My mom's parents' telephone number as a phone call made to that from their house. So the victim's grandparents
used to have to, untangle that cord, and that could take days, literally days. And then shortly after those phones and the buttons came out, they came up with the wonderful recorders. Remember the answering machines that nobody knew how to operate?
Number is on her, a number being made. Why are they calling 1 month before my brother's taken?
Police checked her out and said they didn't have probable cause to make an arrest. In the course of the family's investigations, they also found she had been charged with harassing another man she had an affair with.
What we know about this woman, by record, public record.
Bomb threat, harassment threats, but do you see any type of abduction here?
Court documents and police records. She walked into other people's homes. She literally broke into other people's homes, men she was having relationships with. So she's capable of that.
Remember the answering machines? I remember when we first got answering machines where everybody would, get around the phone and, especially the more advanced, ones where you could just erase and keep recording until you found the right message you wanted to send. And then those were nightmare days because people just didn't know how to operate those things, and messages got erased. They got sometimes voiced over. You had to keep a pad by the thing so you could write down the name and the number and stuff like that and erase. And what a nightmare those things were at first. They don't even have those anymore. Those old messaging machines. They're all on your phone. Such a strange life we used to live those days.
It's been 40 years. Christopher's parents, Gil and Bernice, are gone now. It's just his siblings that are left to find him.
Those answering machines, man, that was really, really like the best technology you could get for the day. That was like the best thing ever. And now it's obsolete. All right, so let's go back to this here. Hold on 1 second here. All right, so let's see here. All right. Okay, so police mishandling the investigation has faced scrutiny in 2006 Colorado, so we read that. The search continues. Christopher's parents both passed away, that's sad, without learning his fate, but his oldest siblings, led by his sister Denise Alves, aggressively sustain the search. They manage active public campaigns via their official portal, so their official portals find Christopher. Age progression and media covers the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which is a fantastic organization. I try to send them as much money as I can. Usually frequently update their age progressed photos to illustrate what Christopher would look like as an adult, because I really believe in this case here that this kid probably got abducted, kidnapped for somebody else that wanted children. I mean, it couldn't have children or just wanted to get back at his family for something. So this kid probably doesn't know his identity at all. And it's possible that this kid got abducted and the parents just either refused to tell him that he was, abducted or adopted or whatever. And he'll probably never know. I mean, if somebody doesn't come up to him or there's no DNA testing or whatever done, I mean, you hear about those things all the time. Recent evidence push. The family has claimed they've uncovered new information regarding the night of the abduction, renewing calls for the case to be formally reviewed or fully transferred over to an outside agency like the Colorado Bureau of Investigations or the FBI. And these are the numbers here. I'll try to copy these and paste these onto a description of some sort, but here they are. 1-800-CALL-FBI or the NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So that's that. Right. So let's go back to this. I really believe this kid was just kidnapped. You hear about these things all the time. Like they just, somebody else wanted to have children and,
was taken and he was murdered out of revenge.
I don't believe that.
Somebody has gotten away with that. A baby. If he was taken and he's living out there somewhere and living and had a life, he has the right to know he had a family. It's weird saying 40 years because it doesn't feel like 40. It doesn't feel.
Talking about like the past, like I remember when we were growing up, we used to go to the every time we used to go to the hospitals and stuff like that, we'd go take a visit to the birthing pavilions and look at all the cute kids, and they'd have a big room where they had all the newborns and stuff like that. You used to be able to look in through the window. They don't do that anymore because so many people have been abducted out of hospital rooms, hospital wards like that, or birthing wards. And when my son, I think it was my son, when my son was born, I get into actual trouble once because I, for some reason, left the the thing that they used to have the little carts with the kid in, and used to be able to walk it back and forth from rooms and stuff like that. So I got in trouble for one time when I kind of left the thing, because I had thought, it was like the old times where, they took the babies back to the birthing unit and they kept them in there. But I don't do that anymore, because these things happen all the time where the kids get abducted right from the birthing room. You'd be surprised. Back then, kids got abducted right from there. People used to swap children all the time and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be surprising that something like this happened with this kid. It's 7-month-old. I don't think anybody took the 7-month-old to, to murder this child. It's possible. I just doubt it. And this kid would never know. This kid would never know about his true identity at all, ever, especially if the parents never said anything.
Like 40 years.
Angeline Hartman is my guest today. She is the communications director at the National Center for Missing.
The only way they would know out of the blue like that, if there was like a transplant that needed to be done, or something like that, where they'd need to find the actual parents, or I think it was switched at birth for sure. That's the only way they would actually be able to tell if he was, if the child was actually taken or not, because or adopted, whatever.
Missing and exploited children. And in addition to Christopher's case, we're going to talk about another missing baby case as well. An infant profiler abductor that NCMEC has also created to make the public aware of risks in baby and fetal abductions. Angeline, thank you so much for your time. This Christopher Abeyta case, as we take a look back, it's a really challenging case, and add to the fact it's been 40 years. How do you all keep hope alive in these baby abduction cases like Christopher's?
Well, 40 years is a long time, but it is really amazing to see Denise, Christopher's sister, and her motivation, where she keeps going. She does not stop, and she will talk to anybody about her brother's case. And as you know, Marnie, that's what's needed to make sure that people are still talking about this. At the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, we create age progression images that can help in cases like this, where we're no longer looking for this baby's face. This baby would be 40 years old now, right? And so this is what the baby would look like now as an adult. And that's an approximation of what Christopher might look like now. But the point is to get people talking. We know these age progressions can work. We've seen it before. And when we're talking about 40 years, we want to tell people that it's not, even though it's 40 years, it can still be solved. We can still find him if he's out there. These cases, now more than ever, we're seeing more and more cases being solved like this.
I mean, maybe Christopher looks in the mirror and sees that age progression and sees resemblances, and then has questioned over his life different things about his upbringing, and that's the one thing that you need, or someone recognizes him. In terms of this particular case in the investigation, there was the admission from the dad that he was having an affair, and they looked at the woman he was having an affair with. Has there ever, over the course of the 40 years, been a suspect or a person of interest named in the case, and what have police shared?
Yeah, remember the party lines? Those are good. Those are awesome. And you used to be able to, when I was growing up, we had the radio station things where you'd be able to call in and win things. And having those push button phones was a huge advantage to the dial-up phone. You had to call in the radios and be like the 13th, 14th caller or something like that, and then you call in. Having a push button phone was a huge advantage.
With you all as you keep this on your case files?
The family has been very vocal about their theories. Police have been open about everything. They say this is.
We might not have had the technology they have these days in the 70s and stuff, but Ben, we got by with what we had perfectly. Like we didn't need. Could you imagine if we would have had computers back in the 70s? We'd probably all be dead, literally. We had enough. We had enough technology. We were fine. We didn't need any more. Well, we used to be able to do with a big wheel.
This is an open investigation. It's active, and they're open to all theories. And so that's what I want to tell people, that no matter what you hear, you can do your own research and you can keep your own mind. And
I mean, we didn't need any more technology. We were good. We're fine.
It doesn't matter. Some new things have popped up over the years that people have forgotten.
Good looking kid though. I mean, that could look like anybody, literally. Especially if you put a beard on the guy, or 40 years. That's a long time.
For 40 years time. And so these cases, again, as long as people are talking about them, especially now with armchair detectives, new theories come up, and these police are open to all of that.
Right. And I mean, there's also the thought that, people can hold on to secrets for so long. I mean, some carry them to their
Absolutely.
deaths, but maybe someone knows something about this case, and now's the time to give this family some peace. It's not just Christopher's case, Angeline, that we wanted to talk about today. You brought to our attention.
Look at this typewriter in the background here. That's, talk about technology. Look at this typewriter. That you don't see that anymore either. That's an old typewriter, man. That's where keyboards actually came from, is this typewriter right back here.
The disappearance of Kevin Verville and his abduction, a little baby who was taken from his home in 1980. Let's share with folks who are watching a little bit about his case.
Remember that? Remember the payphones? There's a, I don't know if you guys ever watched, what was that movie with Michael Broderick with the war there, War Games? Remember when he's on the phone and he kind of boots the phone to get a phone call, free phone call. Used to be able to do that with phones all the time, especially at payphones. Who needed a quarter at a payphone, right? And you'd always be able to find change in a payphone, right? War Games, that's the one, yeah. Remember when he's out using the payphone, he finds a beer tab, and he uses that to jump the phone.
FBI is looking for a woman who calls herself Sheila.
The woman posed as a social worker.
This is the couple's only child. The FBI has had 30 agents spending 15 hours a day trying to track down the woman who's believed to have taken the child. So far, they've hit one dead end after another.
We need help. We don't have a lot of positive information, and we feel that someplace out there somebody does.
Neighbors in the Marine Corps housing project near Camp Pendleton say a woman claiming to be from HELP, a social services program, started asking people there if they knew of any babies 6 months or younger in the housing complex.
This is frightening, man. This is a frightening thing. It's almost impossible to hijack a baby now in a birthing unit, because there's none of those anymore. Just
if you had a chance to talk to the woman who took your child, what would you say to her?
I don't want to talk to her. I just want my baby.
What a haunting nightmare and mystery still to this day, Angeline. So 1980, Kevin was 17 days old. His mom was basically duped into thinking somebody showed up at her door to help, gets in the car, and then the lady eventually takes off with her baby boy, and she's left standing there helpless. There has been some new light shed on this case. Tell us about that.
It's not just the mom who was duped. It was the mom and dad and many people in that community. The person who did this, who took Kevin, had been in that community.
That's what I'm saying, man. We made the technology. Like when I was a kid, we didn't wait around for technology to catch up to us. We we kind of made the technology. I used to tear apart stereos and shit at the house all the time. I bet beer tabs could possibly open a Coke bottle. Absolutely. We were the ones that made the technology. we didn't wait around for the technology to catch up to us, man. We used to build gold carts every week.
Sterling Homes housing complex,
We once built a tree fort with no nails.
which was a military, off-base military housing complex for Camp Pendleton in Southern California. This woman, according to investigators, had been there for days, talking to different families, trying to figure out which baby she could take, essentially.
Because years ago, it was a thing, man. You know, you had sometimes you had in some birthing units, you had like 30 kids in there, and it'd be easy for somebody to switch a child in there, you know.
And so
no one ever monitored those things either. There might have been a couple of nurses in there, or midwives, but other than that, you know, especially at some big hospitals, you'd have 10, 15 babies in there at a time.
So when investigators,
especially in like September or October, which is like the busiest months for births, right? I think it's October's the busiest month, one of them, anyways.
realized that after Kevin Verville was stolen, they went back, they talked to different people. That's how they came up with this composite sketch that you're seeing. And so when we're talking about a woman being in this,
it stayed up there a couple of weeks. We actually built it pretty good. We built it out of rope. And again, if any of our parents would have seen us doing that, we probably would have been grounded for a couple of weeks, but nobody cared at those days. We were pretty impressive. Some of the stuff that we built were, you know, a lot of the stuff we built was probably pretty dangerous, but some of the stuff was actually pretty impressive. I think it is.
same complex for several days. That says that she was not nervous about being there. She was very comfortable in that community. She had a specific goal in mind. And when she found the Verville parents, that baby was the baby that she had honed in and wanted to take.
She targeted him and she targeted his parents. I know you guys have done extensive work on this case. I want to play for folks at home part of an interview with the FBI about the investigation.
Kevin Verville Jr. could be anywhere. We're a connected world today more than we were 45 years ago. We have the power of social media. We have the capability of you folks to push this information out to the communities so that anyone who could potentially recognize Kevin or the perpetrator who took Kevin from his family can contact us and assist us in solving this.
So, Angeline, I think it's important there. You can see the sketch that was put together based on witnesses in the area who had come across this woman, what Kevin may look like today. What are the investigative tools that are available to the FBI and to you all and local law enforcement now that weren't there 40 years ago that could help crack this case?
Well, the biggest thing is DNA. And so the family has submitted their DNA into various databases, right? Investigators are looking at that to see if there can be a match. Beyond that.
Yeah, that you could do that too. Genetic genealogy, because you know, you could probably find these things out through genetics if you wait long enough, because eventually somebody from the tree is probably going to either download something like that or have their DNA, you know, from the family line in a felony or something like that. So you may be able to, you know, branch some of these genetic genealogies off to where some of these kids are actually reunited with who they actually really are. That's a good point.
As we mentioned, these age progression images. This is the first age progression image ever done in this case, what you're seeing now.
Because you hear stories all the time of that. I heard stories about this one woman where she was taken by her babysitter for forever. And then the babysitter basically ended up running away from the babysitter or something like that. and she had no idea who she was. She couldn't even get a birth certificate. So, but eventually they figured it out through DNA. She was on a show. I forget what kind of a show it was on, but she was on some show. And the mother was watching TV at the same time the show was on and called in. And long story short, she ended up passing the DNA thing, and she was reunited with her mother. But these things happen. It's strange how these things happen, but they can happen, and I'm pretty sure that the genetic stuff can, assist in some of those things if you give it enough time.
Of him at, in his early 40s. And this case had essentially, I don't want to say been forgotten by the public, but
I think the one I'm talking about came from Ohio or something like that. Might have been somewhere in the Midwest, I think. I forget. It's one of the famous ones on Cold Case Detective, a Cold Case File, something like that.
it did not have media attention for the last 45 years, basically. They'd had a lot of media attention early on, and then it stopped. And so the community, people are really only seeing these images now. And it's important for people to know that investigators believe the woman who took Kevin had the intention, they believe she specifically took him to raise him as her own. And so if you keep that in mind, that goes to how he could be alive today with no idea about his real identity. And I think that's important. So we're looking for not only him, but the abductor. And they could be out there in plain sight.
There's a pretty good description of her. I mean, this sketch is very specific. She had kind of frizzy hair. In one picture, she has glasses, and the other, she doesn't. She also had a tattoo, I think, on her left hand. I mean, what other distinguishing factors might someone recognize about this woman, this abductor?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Marnie, because the way she looked that day, it's very possible that was a disguise. It's possible she was wearing a wig, this reddish blonde hair. She had the big glasses. Yes, they were kind of in during that time, but maybe she was that was part of her disguise. We know that witnesses say they saw a tattoo. It was a circle with kind of an X or a cross on her left hand between her thumb and her forefinger in that little webbed area. And so, some people who saw her say she looked like she was pregnant. Some people who saw her weren't so sure. And again, she was there for several days. So there's a mix of what people saw that day. But it all speaks to the same thing, which is the profile of an infant abductor, where the woman very aggressively.
That's a very good point. Years ago, jurisdictions didn't talk. That's why it was so easy to get away with stuff in states. I mean, I remember years ago, you could lose your license here for something in New Hampshire and then go to Massachusetts and get a license, and they wouldn't talk. The jurisdictions wouldn't talk. So you'd be able to get a Massachusetts license and come over here and drive in New Hampshire. Nobody would ever question it. So it's definitely for sure. Jurisdictions, nowadays it's so much easier because of computers. I mean, just the paperwork trail and everything's in a computer or CODIS or a data bank at this point.
Goes through any measure to get that baby. They're very honed in. And a lot of times that motivation at the heart of it all is to save a relationship that she's having at home. She either had lied about being pregnant and now it's time to produce a baby, or she was pregnant and had a miscarriage, or something else was going on there. But she believes that the answer to saving her relationship with her boyfriend, her partner, whoever it is to have a baby.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're talking about that, because you guys have done extensive work on creating this baby or fetal abductor profile and some of the characteristics like you're describing that would put someone more at risk or on the radar to do something like this. We have a few graphics built as you can go through this list. It's rare
Okay, so this is interesting here. Risk factors for infant abductions. You have female of childbearing age who appears pregnant. So these are risk factors for infant abductions here. And this is by a pretty reputable company here, or entity here, National Center for the Missing and Exploited Children. Let's hear this here.
Angeline,
It
but
is
these
rare.
baby abductions do happen, and then even equally disturbing is the fetal abductions. As we look through these characteristics, what else are some of the risk factors?
Well, it's important to know, to just reiterate, like you said, first of all, infant abductions are rare. And then when we're talking about fetal abductions, that is even more rare. So that's a very, very small percentage. But right now in the United States, we have about a dozen unsolved cases involving infants. Most of these infant abductions are solved. These babies are found. But, you know, according to your list there, we had mentioned this, it's usually a woman between.
Yeah, you could literally, I remember years ago, because I was kind of like right on the periphery of that, where, you know, you could go down to Massachusetts and get a license down there, and then drive anywhere in the country, even if you had your license revoked in another state here. So it's can't do that now. It's impossible.
In the ages of 20 to 40, sometimes it's 20 to 30 is the biggest.
Well, nothing's impossible, but it's a lot
number, and then
it's a lot harder now to do that than it used to be.
30 to 40 is the second category, but she's usually single. She, you know, is known to use manipulation. She is very diabolical, and she again will use any means to get what she wants.
Wow, it's incredible.
So I got to get out of this. I got to move on to the next one. I'll keep an eye on that there, but I'm assuming, and it's possible something nefarious happened, but I think it's very rare. I do, since I'm here, I'm going to play this one here now. Okay, so this is another one of the missing here, and this is the one I was supposed to play last week. So more than a year since 69-year-old California grandmother vanishes on walk. This is again part of the missing from News Nation here. It's been over a year since 65-year-old California grandmother went out for a walk, only to never return home. Her family never giving up hope. Doorbell security cameras to piece together her movements for over 2 hours, but the footage ultimately left the family with grief and confusion. They're turning to private investigator Steve Fisher to analyze the footage and look into Atpayeva's case. Fisher joins News Nation. All right, so here we go. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I had to back that up a little bit. Oops, sorry. Hold on a second here.
Over those hours and miles. But the breadcrumb trail suddenly ends at 2 p.m. on a sunny California afternoon.
Sometimes I get so angry that I can't do anything to find my mom, and I want to find her so much. Every second, every day that I'm missing without her.
Maya Meyer is haunted by these last images of her mom, 65-year-old Raushan Atpayeva.
I just don't have any explanation how at 2 p.m. on a sunny day in a safe area, a woman can just walk around residential area and she just disappeared. with no trace, no nothing.
Paiva was living with Maya's family, anticipating the arrival of her second grandchild and doting on her first one.
Amazing bond, amazing connection. She would never leave him behind. She was so in love with him.
On July 11th, 2025, she told Maya's sister she was going for a walk. Paiva was fit, liked being outdoors, and had no known health concerns, but Maya was immediately worried.
She didn't know my mom would never leave the house without me or without telling me where she's going and without the cell phone. So she's not really good of like location wise. She gets lost easily.
When they couldn't find her, they began asking the community to check their doorbell cameras. And sure enough, there was Paiva striding down the street.
The way she walks, it seems like she knows where she...
No, I'm sorry. That was me. I was being a bonehead again. I forgot to share it. This is another interesting case here. Let's see here. He drove a truck in the 70s and 80s, got to go into Canada often before border was tightly controlled. I grew up in the truck with him. Oh, that's awesome.
She's going, but this is my mom. That's just how she works.
Collecting more videos like a puzzle from around the neighborhood known as the Texas Tract in Simi Valley.
This is so sad. This whole case is wicked sad. The daughter is just, every time you hear her talk, you just want to go down there and give her a big hug and try to help out in this thing here. This is just so weird.
They were able to piece together her movements over 2 hours in the 86-degree sun, passing some houses several times.
Piece by piece, one by one, over the time, we got all this footages that my mom just wandering around the streets.
But the trail ends with the last video they received from 2 p.m.
So we don't know how much further she could have gone without some assistance.
Steve Fisher is a private investigator brought in to help analyze the footage.
By the time we last see her on surveillance, she'd been out there several hours. Much further she could have gone without some assistance.
Steve Fisher is a private investigator brought in to help analyze the footage.
By the time we last see her on surveillance, she'd been out there several hours in the heat without water.
One mystery, what is Paiva holding in her hand if her cell phone was left at home?
This has been a huge mystery as far as what's in her.
That's what I was looking at right there. Like, hold on a second here. What is this? Is that could that be a mace thing, you think? Does that look like a mace thing? Like a zapper? Like one of those what do they call those things?
Mystery, what is Paiva holding in her hand if her cell phone was left at home?
This has been a huge mystery as far as what's in her hand and why it seems to light up at points, and she seems to be talking to it.
Maya believes her mom is just holding the case for her glasses. Looking back, Maya realizes her mom may have been showing early signs of dementia.
A couple of times, like, Mom, you told me this 1,000 times, and she's trying to tell me like it's the first time I hear. And yeah, there was she would repeat same things.
Paiva's friend.
Does she look like she's walking weird? I don't think so. Does she look like she's got dementia here? I mean, it looks like she's walking pretty good.
By the time we last see her on surveillance,
she looks like she walks up here. She's the crosswalk here. She knows enough to walk. She could, if she wanted to cross the street, right? She would have been able to do it over here. But she walks. She looks like she's in pretty good.
Piece by piece, one by one, over the time, we got all this footages that my mom just wandering around the streets.
But the trail ends with the last.
Yeah, maybe that is the sunglass case. Maybe that's right.
Last video they received from 2 p.m.
Yeah, that could be that could be what it is, like a those kind of cumbersome type of sunglass cases or glass cases. That's probably what that is. Yeah.
So we don't know how much.
But she, like I'm saying, she comes all the way up here to the stop
This footage is
sign.
that my mom just wandering around the streets.
But the trail ends with the last
Comes up here, and you know this is the crosswalk. She does the right thing instead of crossing the street here. So she's got. What is this? Why does she do that though?
video they received from 2 p.m.
So we don't know how much further she could have gone without some assistance.
I don't know. She looked pretty good there. I mean, she looked a taser. Yeah, that's what I thought. Taser. If you have dementia, you don't know what you're doing, right? So she doesn't know. She probably wouldn't know to go to the crosswalk and cross, right? I don't know. It's weird.
Steve Fisher is a private investigator brought in to help analyze the footage.
By the time we last see her on surveillance, she'd been out there several hours in the heat without water.
One mystery, what is Ipaiva holding in her hand if her cell phone was left at home?
This has been a huge mystery as far as what's in her hand and why it seems to light up at points, and she seems to be talking to it.
Maya believes her mom is just holding the case for her glasses. Looking back, Maya realizes her mom may have been showing early signs of dementia.
A couple of times, like, Mom, you told me this 1,000 times, and she's trying to tell me like it's the first time I hear. And yeah, there was.
So hold on a second here. So these are some pictures of tasers here. You know, this is what I was thinking here, especially if it lights up, right? There's self-defense, something like this here. There's a pepper spray gun here. This is, yeah, I mean, it could be for sure. This is the electric ones. Something like this here. Because these do light up, right? All right. Let's go back here.
Says she would repeat same things.
Ipaiva's friends wanting to help any way they can.
I am very upset about what happened with her. She's a very nice person.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible she could have had some sort of early dementia. And she was embarrassed. She wouldn't ask for help. Exactly. Just a sad case. I feel so bad for these people.
How this we can understand.
With no other video showing Ipaiva after 2 p.m.
See, she looks, I mean, my opinion, she looks pretty normal here. She doesn't look.
Maya thinks her mom was probably the victim of foul play.
We check everywhere. It seems like to me that she either was picked up by a car or someone invited her in the house, and I don't know.
From the 1-year-old so close to his grandma, what?
This is so sad. This is just terribly sad.
Was it an omen on the night she disappeared?
He suddenly woke up out of his. He woke up and started screaming like Nana, Nana, like crying nonstop and screaming.
To this point, I personally have not seen anything to indicate foul play. I think there's a better chance that she got lost and she's further out than we think.
Watching another case unfold on national television and a daughter's desperate search for her mom.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her.
Maya knew how she felt.
I was crying because I know exactly what she's going through. And I was really sad.
She hopes both cases can end with miracles.
bringing her mom back to them.
We really miss her. We want her back home as soon as possible.
Steve Fisher is the private investigator working with the family on this case and joins us now to talk more about it. Steve, welcome back. What's the latest on her disappearance? Any new clues?
There really isn't anything new. We continue to, search for her. Search and rescue. Ventura County Search and Rescue did come out recently with some specialized drones and searched more of the area, but unfortunately, there hasn't been anything. Because of the rains we've had, there's a tremendous amount of growth in those hills, and it complicates things a little bit more.
How far out has the search extended? Are we talking miles?
I don't know if we've gotten to miles yet, but this area, this Texas track, the north end of it where she was at, dead ends into basically a wilderness area. It just becomes rolling hills, and it's very popular for hiking, walking, mountain biking, and whatnot. It has defined trails, and we don't, one of the questions is that, what she was going to do. She got caught in this like loop. It's literally a
right? No buzzards. It just seems to me like she's kind of doing a normal thing here. Like, I don't know. Of course, I don't know what's going on up here in the head, but it looks like she's walking. She takes the crosswalk. She's walking across the street. I mean, I don't know what this van is here.
A tract. It's called Texas Tract, and she did the same, series of streets 4 or 5 times, and we don't know if she was trying to find her way out to get to that wilderness area or what. But it has extended. We're probably at about.
Oh, there she comes again.
A 3/4 mile mark now, extended out into the wilderness, but it goes forever.
What stands out to you, Steve, from an investigative standpoint about her demeanor? I mean, anything unusual about how she's walking or what she's doing in these series of videos you guys have compiled?
It does concern me that maybe there was early on, the onset of dementia or something along that matter. She does the same track several times. She's definitely walking with purpose, but she's also holding what at the beginning we thought possibly was a burner phone, but now I think myself, even the detectives, believe that the family's probably right. It might be a sunglass case, but she appears to actually be communicating, talking to it at times. So, and that could be, dementia, and these things, the families don't notice these coming on because they're living with the person daily, and then all of a sudden it hits this point, and we've got this mixture of.
It's possible that she's probably trying to avoid somebody, right? I mean, I do agree with the fact she seems at some point to be walking with a purpose, but she may be she might be trying to walk to avoid something, right? Or somebody might have been following her in a car.
Somebody that possibly is suffering from that, but is also very physically fit and can travel a very long distance on foot.
Yeah. You guys have so many videos of her. Did she interact with anybody in any of these videos? I mean, does she come across a person walking their dog or anything else?
Not that we know of, not that we have a video. And we do have a lot of videos, but a lot of them are multiple videos from the same residence.
Okay.
I think there's probably 5 or 6 different residences, but some she passed 4 times. So, we need more.
That's a big kid.
I think there's probably 5 or 6 different residences, but some she passed 4 times.
Look at how big this baby is. Holy cow. I mean, I'm not making fun of this child here, but this is a big child. This baby's head is just as big as the grandmother's head, literally.
So, we need more. Unfortunately, the family did a tremendous job getting out and trying to get surveillance right off the bat. Unfortunately, there was a delay with law enforcement ramping this investigation up. So a lot of
It to me, this looks like what I'm thinking is it looks almost like it's a some sort of a protection device here that she's holding in her hand. I mean, to me, that looks to be a little bit too thin to be a sunglass or a glass case.
Surveillance was overwritten.
What about digital evidence? I know in a case when you're dealing with adults, getting access to internet searches or their cell phone data can be tough. Have you been able, and has the family been able to gain access to any of that?
Yeah, and the family's, she did leave her phone behind, and the family did give me access.
That baby was huge. That's probably a good thing, right? But that baby was massive.
To that, in law enforcement, of course, and there's nothing concerning that I found in the phone. Doing a forensic sweep on it, we can see her search history and everything. There's nothing indicating that she was planning anything, or but there's also not any indication that she was going to meet up with anybody. So it's a real mystery.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that's she got creeped. And pretended it was a phone. It's exactly what I was thinking. Like maybe, I mean, you don't see, when you see a video like that, you only see what, kind of in the screen. You can't see, maybe there was a car following her or something and she was trying to avoid it, trying to walk to where, she was trying to see if the car was actually following her or not by, that is kind of strange.
And she was not real, as her daughter said earlier in the piece. She would get lost, and she does have, but she's in great physical shape. And everybody talks about how when they go hiking, she would go the furthest distance, and then the rest of the family. So that's working against us here, because even though it was a very hot day and she'd been out there for a couple hours, she could still, if she got out, once she got out of that.
Look how big this baby is.
Against us here, because even though it was a very hot day and she'd been out there for a couple hours, she could still.
That's a big baby.
If she got out, once she got out of that track, she could have gone a long ways.
Yeah, could have gotten on public transportation, could have been picked up, which is something her daughter mentioned. You in the piece said you didn't suspect foul play. Is that still the case?
So I'm just not there yet as an investigator. I have to go with evidence and not kind of a gut feeling. I do not discount at all what the family.
Yeah, that's a baby, all right. It's not a preemie, that's for sure.
Believes and thinks. I just haven't found the evidence of it yet. I'm not saying that it could not have happened, but I've got to go on what's in front of me and what is the highest probability. And for me, right now as an investigator, that is that she probably got out there and got lost. But I'm not discounting that is an option, possibility. And if we find any trace of that, we will, we'll run it down.
Yeah, but got lost where? Like it's a residential neighborhood. Where did she get lost to? Like, did she go outside of the neighborhood and maybe get into Simi Valley? Right? Is that where's the Simi Valley? That's in California. She could have wandered off into, the desert or whatever that is, the valley here.
Down for sure.
In similar cases where dementia is suspected, lots of families will contact mental health facilities or hospitals in the area and extend that out as far as necessary. Has that been done here, and should it, if not?
It has been done. And your point earlier was a good one about, she could have gotten on public transportation. That is one thing that Simi Valley PD, they've done several things, but they were able to pull surveillance from the buses, and we don't have a vast bus system in that part of the city like other big cities. So they were able to check all that, and it came back negative. But everything is.
Okay, so hold on a second here. Let's take a little drive. Just to give us kind of like a bearing of where the hell we are. So this is Simi Valley here, and this looks, you know, pretty residential here, right? But you get out here, this is Valley, right? This is all I'm saying is if she has dementia, she's getting lost in this area here, right? Like, where does she go? I mean, what would happen? Did she just fall in the street, or did she go out here to, you know, some of the, you know, it doesn't look that remote here, does it? Do you? I guess it does. I mean, she could walk up into here. I don't know. It's kind of strange. Get out of this here. We'll go back to this here, and then we'll go do a couple more stories, and then we'll get the hell out of here. It's almost. I've already been here almost 3 hours. Ugh.
Is being done, but you know, if anybody saw anything, you know, or knows anything, we beg for your help, and anybody that hikes, bikes, anything in that area north of the Texas track, please, you know, keep an eye out.
Yeah, and if somebody sees this and sees her face and recognizes her between last July and now, to please come forward. Steve, anything else investigators or police are saying, and what's
I'm just saying, if you have dementia, you're walking around in a block like that, or like a, you know, kind of like a neighborhood like that, where are you going to go? Like what? Like, I guess it's possible to go out and get lost kind of in the, you know, in the forest there or the valley, but where's the body, right?
specific areas are you still asking for more footage?
And so anywhere, literally anywhere in that Simi Valley area, but the Texas Tract area, the people in the area will know what that is. She was staying with her daughter at the south end of that. She's actually, where we have her on surveillance, is actually on the north end of the Texas Tract, which runs about 4 or 5 blocks wide. And she was just zigzagging through it. So anybody in that area, if you happen to have alerts, you know, from your Ring doorbell from that day still preserved, please go through them and look, you know, look for her. She's wearing all black. She has a big bag with her, you know, she's got, you know, tennis shoes on. So if you can go through your alerts or there's a couple churches that I've never been able to get a hold of anybody else. There's a couple churches in that area that might have long-term surveillance. If they do, and they have their alerts, that'd be fantastic. Please let us know, or let Simi Valley PD know if they see anything.
All right, good deal. Steve, it's been almost a year. Let's hope this gets to the right person who sees something and says something. Thanks for the help that you're giving to the family, and as always, your time for us.
Thank you.
If you've seen.
Okay, so this is the number here. This is in Simi Valley, California. Rashawn Atpayeva, Simi Valley Police Department. This is the 805-583-6950. That's what she looks like. I'll keep an eye on this here for sure. Just another terrible situation here. I mean, it's possible that she kind of, you know, met with foul play. I put this, what kind of apex predators other than humans are around there? Good, that's a good question for sure. I was just looking into that. You know, it is the valley, so I'm assuming there's, you know, coyotes and stuff and bear. I think it's, if I had to guess, probably 60% she probably just got lost or something like that, and like 40% maybe some foul play. I mean, I don't think she, I don't know. I'd have to find out some more information about this, but this is her case anyways.
Atpayeva, or have any information that can help investigators and her family bring her home.
Atpayeva. Yeah, that's what I said. Atpayeva.
As Steve said, contact the Simi Valley Police Department. That number is on your screen, 805-583-6950. There is a $10,000 reward in the case as well.
All right. So, you know, that's an interesting thing that I just, you know, kind of thought of to myself. You know, it's possible it is possible, very, very possible that the same kind of thing happened to our friend Nancy Guthrie, where she was kidnapped and then got set free, and then kind of wandered aimlessly for a few days, and something like that. All right, so all right, let's change gears here. I do want to get into this a little bit here. I'll keep an eye on that anyways. That's every single case that we cover here is important, so I try to keep as much focus on it as possible. I have alerts that I can get on these cases here. So I want to get into this here a little bit here. I'm not going to get into it 100% this week here, but I'm investigating it. I'm probably going to do some boots on the ground here on this case here, but I think they're getting very close with this case here. I could be wrong. But this is the case that I was talking about early tonight, the Trish Haynes case. On July 10th, 2019, News 9 aired a segment on the nightly programming regarding a disappearance of a young Florida woman who had been temporarily living in New Hampshire. 26-year-old Trish Haynes had been missing for nearly a year or so, the public thought. Exasperated and vexed by the lack of movement in the Trish's case, her great aunt, Valerie Alvarez, contacted the media this media outlet here, forcing the hand of the Attorney General, because the Attorney General's office here is absolutely horrible. The following days, in a twist of curious events, it was learned that certain family members were informed by police that some of Trish's remains had been located in August of 2000. This is a case here that needs to be called out, I guess, here. The state of New Hampshire is absolutely horrible when it comes to cold cases. It's got to be the worst state that I'm aware of. Nothing gets solved here. People die all the time here. Nothing ever comes of it. There's no such thing as a resolve in this state. It doesn't happen. Very rarely. But state police have firmly requested they keep this information concealed, even from Trisha's own mother, as the remainder of her family. But anyways, let's go. I'm going to play this here because this came up here. Hold on 1 second here. Washington. Okay. So, all right. So this is going to go through basically the gist of this case here. And like I said, I'm going to do maybe some boots on the ground next week on this case here. So, and this came out a couple of days ago. Here we go.
Years since remains found in a submerged washing machine in Grafton were tied to a 26-year-old woman who was reported missing a year prior.
News 9 Investigates spoke to this woman's family, who are still looking for answers in the years after her murder.
Alana Flood explains their demands and what investigators say they need to move the case forward.
That woman's name is Trish Haynes, and prosecutors are now saying they have collected all the physical evidence they need for the case. What they are looking for now is a witness.
We need to keep this in the public eye. We need to let people know that there are people running around in this area that are very dangerous.
During the years Trish Haynes has been gone, her aunt, Valerie Haynes Alvarez, has collected many leads and has made it her mission to find the person or people who murdered her niece.
The only other closure we need to get is having these people put behind bars for doing what they did.
But now, 8 years after Trish's remains were identified, she wants answers and for the Attorney General's office to take action.
Yeah,
I think they've got the evidence.
I'm hoping to, do a trip down here this week and kind of either upload it to YouTube or maybe to do a little bit more on this case next week. But I think it's possible they may be getting close in this case here.
They just are not using it. They need to move on this case.
Trish was 26 years old when she was reported missing in the summer of 2018, and police searched a home in Grafton where Trish was staying with people she knew since childhood. Less than a month after that search, some of Trish's remains were found.
It was here at Grants Pond where Trish's jaw was found submerged in a washer dryer. However, it took months for the Attorney General.
So I'll probably take a trip out here. Because this is a location where I believe parts of her were found, not sure.
General's office to say that her death was ruled a homicide. Valerie says this lost them precious time in the investigation. 10 months later, at the urging of News 9 Investigates, officials publicly identified the remains as belonging to Trish and rule her death a homicide.
This was taken just before she died.
Haynes Alvarez remembers her niece as someone who was happy, trusting, and quick to smile.
This is when we told her, we're on our way to SeaWorld.
What would you like the Attorney General's office to know?
That it's time that they take their chance and do something about this case.
Benegatti is the senior assistant attorney general and chief of the homicide unit. He says they have never stopped working this case.
Investigators feel that we have all the physical.
We love Tracy here. Let's see here. Took Dad to a large gathering of family and friends for pitch-in. Fireworks finished with 10 minutes to get outside, stuff cleaned up before a downpour set in. That's awesome. Don't want to be caught in those downpours. I know parts of Kentucky got hit really hard.
Evidence that there is. We need somebody who's strong enough to come forward.
Now they need a witness, and not just any witness.
We are looking now really for witnesses in the inner circle of Trisha's life to come forward.
News 9 Investigates tried to make contact with some of the people who were in Trisha's inner circle of life around the time she died. They either didn't answer us or express hesitation over the idea of coming forward. Susan Morrill is the former head of the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit. She says situations like this can be hard for families and prosecutors who often cannot reveal much of what they are working on.
All of that information, it has to be held.
I mean, it's very typical for investigations to keep things from the family. I mean, they can't. It's very hard for investigators to tell the family much of anything. One is because they don't want to let the information out. And two, they may not have any information. But the family is usually the people who get left out in these cases more than anybody else. So it's not unusual for them not to know stuff, and for the investigation to kind of, take that kind of a turn. But I think they should be able to tell them some stuff. But it's not unusual for the family to know absolutely nothing when it comes to investigations like this.
Held closely to the investigation to ensure the integrity of that evidence.
She says prosecutors need proof beyond a reasonable doubt because if a trial were to end without a guilty verdict, double jeopardy would prevent them from trying that suspect again.
In the case of homicides, obviously, the stakes are even higher.
Agati says he's hoping with the passage of time, someone may have a change of heart and come forward.
It's time for people to reevaluate their allegiances to the truth and to helping this family and help Trish and help investigators hold the people responsible.
I just don't get the fireworks thing. Like, I grew up in Boston, so, the fireworks down there are different, but even those these days, it's the same shit all over again. The fireworks don't do anything for me at all. It's just, and all those people, just can't handle that many people. Just can't do it. So.
Responsible versus some relationship that in the past they didn't feel safe coming forward.
The family participates in a rally every year on the steps of the State House to increase awareness of Trisha's homicide and other unsolved cases. This year, it will be held on August 7th. In the meantime, anyone with information on this case is asked to contact the New Hampshire State Police Major Crimes Unit.
I agree. Boston usually does a pretty good job. And it doesn't matter where you are in Boston. Like, you could be, we used to watch them from the Hat Show all the time. But again, it's still like, even if they just don't do it, it's like that. It's not the same anymore. I don't know.
In the studio with News 9 Investigates, I'm Alana Flood.
All right, so I'm going to try to get out there this week and try to investigate that a little bit myself. Do some boots on the ground stuff, since it is summertime and I have a problem driving out there. Still planning to go up to J Main this year too to get some more information on the Kimberly Moreau case. But we'll see what happens with that. All right, so I want to play a couple more rapid fire things and then we'll get out of here. There's just not enough time on a live for everything, unfortunately. All right, so this came out. Let's see here, because there's just too many cases. They're everywhere. The cases are beyond too much for me. Farmington Hills case, cold case solved. Suspect extradited after 25 years on the run. So this happened a couple of days ago. Edgardo Luis Perez was extradited from Guatemala on July 8th by Farmington Hills PD with assistance from the FBI after being wanted in connection with the 2001 murder of Gordon Meshek. I think that's how you pronounce that. So here we go.
Road for a Metro Detroit fugitive who spent nearly 25 years on the run.
In 2001, investigators say the suspect brutally murdered a man in Farmington Hills and then fled the country. Gordon Meshek was 55 years old and just getting ready to retire when he was killed, his identity stolen.
2 years later, a warrant was issued for the arrest of 44-year-old Edgardo Luis Perez. He's been on the run ever since, and tonight he's finally in custody. Perez was arrested in Guatemala earlier this week and extradited to Farmington Hills, where he was arraigned this morning.
7 News Detroit's Ruta Olsenaida is your Farmington Hills reporter. She's following the effort to bring Perez back to the United States and speaking with Meshek's friends and families who've been waiting for decades for answers.
Gordon Meshek was just getting ready to finally enjoy his retirement when in 2001, he was reported missing. All evidence pointing to the fact that he was killed. Now, after 25 years, his alleged killer is finally behind bars.
Eddie Perez is the devil himself. He is evil and killed a wonderful, kind, giving, gentle man.
At an emotional press conference Friday, those that knew and loved Gordon Meshek the most made sure to highlight just how kind and gracious the 56-year-old was. Sue Macri and her husband Vic lived behind Meshek and his partner Jim Johnson near 13 Mile in Inkster. Johnson was in Florida working on their retirement home when he noticed suspicious transactions on Meshek's credit card. Sue checked the home and noticed pieces of.
Don't you love it how they get these guys? Like, these guys think that they've got it made. They're in the shade over there in Guatemala and they get arrested. This is awesome. This is the good stuff. This is the good news right here. Hold on a second. I got something for the good news. Let's see here. Right here. Ready? Okay, here we go.
Carpet cut out. Red flags immediately going up. The suspect, 19-year-old Edgardo Perez, that had befriended Meshek at a local gym.
The day after Mr. Meshek's disappearance, we saw that Perez allegedly used Mr. Meshek's credit card to make purchases for a one-way ticket to San Diego, as well as purchases in Mexico.
Perez had a laundry list.
Yeah, it's the good news. Sometimes there's good news in this community, and this is one of them.
List of charges he was facing, including assault and battery. Investigators believe he murdered Meshek to steal his identity and get away.
Our information is that Mr. Perez was fearful of being arrested on another charge related to a probation violation, and that was the impetus between him wanting to attack Mr. Meshek, try to steal his identity, get resources, and flee the country.
An international search was launched, and finally, in February of this year, Perez was taken into custody in Guatemala and extradited to Michigan just this week. He faced a Farmington Hills judge on Friday on murder charges.
Failed to appear for previous court appearances, had to be extradited for this appearance. Bond will be denied.
Meshek's partner, meanwhile, never got to see the justice be served, dying of a stroke shortly after he went missing.
Jim was a broken man
That freaking sucks. That's awful.
after that. Jim sat with his doors unlocked, sitting in the den waiting for him to come back.
But the victim's cousin in Grand Rapids, Lita Lucy, says now the family can finally have some peace after a very long 25 years.
I never really gave up hope. I never did that. I just
This was doubtful. It was doubtful after all this time.
In Farmington Hills, I'm Ruda Sinaida, 7 News Detroit.
Ruda, thank you. And Ruda is your Farmington Hills reporter, closely following what's happening across southeastern Oakland County. You can connect with.
I mean, that's awesome. It's awesome that they got at least some you know, I don't want to say closure, but nothing beat the Rotary Club accident, putting the big finale firework upside down in the cannon thingy out of the lake, clipping the pontoon sinking boat. It required all right, I'm gonna play something that's kind of like completely out of this world. Hold on a second here. I don't know if you guys have caught this one here, but I'm gonna play it anyways, and then I'll get out of here. There's just too much to cover, so I'm gonna probably do another live at this point because let's see, I've been here over 3 hours now, and I haven't covered probably an eighth of what I wanted to cover tonight. But anyways, so this happened. When did this happen? This happened a few days ago. A newly released police report and 9/11 calls revealed new details about how a toddler was declared dead, but later found alive in a hospital morgue. So here's this. Hold on a second here. Talk about whoops.
Newly released police report and 911 calls are providing new details about how a toddler who was declared dead was later then found to be alive in a hospital morgue. Let's go live now to CBS News national correspondent Jerika Duncan. Jerika, great to see you. Can you walk us through this just astonishing story?
Yeah, this is incredible. I haven't.
You just can't make this stuff up, right? You cannot. I mean, you can't even script this. Like if you put this in a movie, nobody would believe you.
Heard anything like this before. Imagine it is Super Bowl Sunday. You're there with your family and your friends, which is what was happening here in Gilbert, Arizona, about 30 miles southeast of Phoenix. And then there was a 911 call because the family of an 18-month-old boy realized that he had been in the backyard of a pool. They weren't sure at the time exactly how long he had been there, but we did see the video that was released today from police. I want to warn you, what you're about to hear and see is without a doubt disturbing, but here's a little bit of what happened that day.
Come on, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy, come on.
Oh my God, I wasn't paying attention.
I need to talk to somebody that can talk to me about the boy. Can you do that?
Yes, he wandered.
How long?
I don't know.
You guess. 10 to 15 minutes? Was he underneath? Was
No,
he
he
down?
wasn't underneath. Alexis, was he underneath? Was he underneath?
Was he? Okay.
No, he was face down.
He was face down floating? Someone was supposed to be taking care of him. Okay. I was eating. Can you tell me approximately how long he was outside? Do we know? I have no idea, dude.
So clearly there was some miscommunication about who was watching this 18-month-old at the time. As the video continues, you hear the parents say they thought he was with someone else. There were a number of people in and out of the house. There were other kids that were there. But in the end, what is just so remarkable about this story is police got him to the hospital. The hospital officials, a doctor in fact, pronounced him dead at 6:20 that evening. Remember, police got there at about 5:30 that night. At 6:20, police pronounced.
Look at the head of hair on this kid, right? Holy crap.
At 6:20, police pronounced this child dead. Within hours of that time period, the medical examiner, 4 or 5 hours later, hears a heartbeat. They hear breathing. They realize that this child still has a pulse. So then another call was made to the family that went home at about 11:30 that night. The family of Vincent Lorenzo Fiordalino got a call saying that their 18-month son was in fact alive. Now, since that time period, the family started a GoFundMe page saying that he is breathing with the assistance of a ventilator and that he is still recovering, but that there was no brain damage. As of right now, that GoFundMe page has about $20,000 raised. Just an incredible story. But it is important to note, too, that the parents are possibly facing charges of negligence. Police said that they found marijuana in the house and believe that this is a
Oh my God, really?
little bit more to the story, as you can imagine.
Because they found marijuana in the house, they're going to press charges. I mean, oh, what is this world coming to? It's just so weird. I mean, these things happen. They're accidents. That's what they happen. I mean, they can happen to people who don't have alcohol, drugs in their house. Just dumb. It's just stupid. This thing. Thankful the kid's alive, right? Like that's the important thing. Like, I mean, I consider myself to be a good parent. Not a great parent, but a good parent. But even me, sometimes, sometimes you lose track of kids. You can't keep your eye on kids all the time. It just, I mean, I don't know. I think this is wrong. And just because they found pot in the house, they can stop it. It's dumb.
When it comes to maybe not keeping a close enough eye on a toddler, especially on Super Bowl Sunday.
Such a remarkable story, and so grateful that that baby was eventually determined to be alive. Jerika Duncan, thank you so much. But boy, that 911 video, I'm a parent, you're a parent. It is incredibly hard to listen to. Every parent's worst nightmare.
It is.
It's so weird. It's like, it's a weird story. They would not charge the country club set. I wait, They should be in jail. Let the grandparents raise the kid. Probably. I mean, I don't know. I just don't judge a book by the cover. I'm not going to judge them just because they have marijuana in the house. I mean, there's no difference between them walking inside and seeing marijuana in the house and a fridge full of alcohol, right? Like it's all right. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have been great. Tracy, thank you so much for everything, being here. You're awesome. It's always good to see Tracy here. Paula, you're amazing. Thank you for keeping me on my toes. And yes, I'm going to go live tonight. I'll try to put a notification in if I do an extra live this week, because I do want to get some of the stuff that I wanted to go over last week. That way I can kind of clear it out of my queue here. Sorry I didn't come in here last week, but sometimes there's more important things sometimes that need to be tended to. Miranda Lee, thank you so much. Mustang, you're awesome. It's always good to see Miranda here. If anybody sees Jenny, let me know, please. I'm going to put my email down in here again, just in case. Tracy, I thank you for coming in here again. Mustang, you're awesome. Thank you for everything you do in the chat. I hope you're well, Mustang. Let's see here. Cindy Lean, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you. And I know that PJ was in here. Unscripted Chronicles was in here. Awesome creator, awesome person. Good to have her in here. Let's see here. I know Tracy. Let's see here. We know Carol was in here. We know Nicole Watt was in here. And for those who are kind of under the weather, I hope you feel better soon. Whatever you do, don't get that stomach bug. Let's see here. I know that Heather was in here. Heather's amazing. I hope Heather's doing well. I know Gretchen was in here. Gretchen's amazing. I hope she's doing well too. Let's see here. Dewey Ox was in here. Dewey Ox is amazing. Good to see Dewey Ox. Let's see here. There's Unscripted right there. Always good to see Unscripted. JP was in here too. Brian was in here. Good to see Brian. Let's see here. There's Lita Joe right there. There's Gretchen. There's Cindy Lean. There's Miranda. And for people who watching the replay, I really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of people watching the replay. Let's see here. Who was that? I know that Dom was in here earlier. Shay was in here. It's always good to see Shay. Let's see here. And if I miss anybody tonight, I really apologize for that, but, let's see here. Oops. All right. I think that's it. I think we're going to get out of here. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. There's JP right there. There's Becky. Becky was in here too again. I always forget to say goodnight to Becky. Let's see here. I know Avery was in here too. Is that who that is? Avery. But other than that, I'm going to get out of here. If I missed anybody, I apologize. You know me. I want everybody to have a good week. Whatever you guys do, don't die. Yeah, no dying, damn it, for sure. You guys are all awesome. I appreciate all your support. You guys are amazing to still be here with me this long into this channel here. So I do appreciate everybody's support. Have a great week. Everybody stay safe. Enjoy the wonderful summer. And I'll see you guys next week. But I'll try to come up with another live at some point, and I'll try to send out a notification about that. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have a great week.